Paulians, is that what they're called?
Paulians.
Oh, it's quite good.
The parlors. Okay, guys, we're live. This is episode 1.
Yes. Welcome.
Introduce the show.
Welcome, boys. This is the first episode of Yak Chat 2020.
Let's get a round of applause, everyone.
Yes. Woo! Thanks, boys. Thank you. Cheers, everyone. Thanks.
Who have we got in the studio, Joe?
Today we've got the big H, Harry, and next to him we've got what? I didn't even clock.
Nothing.
We've got Big S, Big Sammy, and in the background we've got Newt. Right, so last year, big year, last year of the decade. A lot of shit happened. It got worse as the year went on. 2020 is a new start though, a new year. Politics hasn't finished just because it made me depressed for a little while. But no, it's true though. It took me, honestly, it took me a good couple of weeks to get over it. Like literally get over it. I couldn't even talk about it. I couldn't think about it. But it sort of puts into perspective how much of a snowflake I think we actually all are, because you sort of see other people in Parliament say the man himself, Big Corbs, been doing it for 40 years. We back him for 4 years, and now we've all given up on politics because he lost.
Alright, so let's break it down a bit. So
yeah,
we got Labour coming in with Jez's second election,
the second coming
test. The second coming of Corbyn Rice. Yeah, and he fucked up a bit. Well, when I say fucked up, I mean he just lost by quite a lot.
Yeah. Tragically.
So as a Corbyn supporter, I'm going to be indifferent in this conversation.
Yeah.
But as a Corbyn supporter, what do you think went wrong? Why do you think he didn't come out on top like you felt like he should have?
Yeah. I mean, for me, the biggest thing was the Brexit policy. If you look at the seats that Labour lost, 52 of the 54 were leave voting seats. And what has changed in our country a little bit over the last sort of 20 years is where populations are. So take somewhere like Brighton, it's a student-y city town. London is full of young people. Back home, where everyone's actually from, that's where their parents live, their grandparents live. But these towns don't have their own economies anymore. There isn't industries, so people move to cities to get jobs. Hence why Corbyn didn't actually lose a lot in regards to the popular vote. The percentage of the vote wasn't that different. He still got more votes than Blair did when he won. Got more votes than Gordon Brown, more votes than Miliband, but they lost more seats than anyone.
Well, that's the thing. I saw. I think it was like a diagram or something, and it was like, if we had proportionate representation, then Labour would have had about a third of the seats in the country.
Yeah, it would have been a minority government, not a majority.
I think Lib Dems would have had a good 20 seats or something, but they only ended up with 1.
Well, yeah, that's it.
UKIP party, I think, would have had 3 or something, and
yeah. So
it's like with the voting system we've got, it seems like a lot of people are putting in a lot of time and effort into, say, like a political party that a lot of people clearly agree with, because if people didn't agree with them, then proportionally they wouldn't have won a seat. Do you know what I mean? But clearly a lot of people do. But now these parties aren't getting a look in just because of the way the voting system's set up. What do you think about that?
It's a difficult one, because as much as I would suggest that it goes to popular vote, it would then create a whole new conversation of how would Parliament work? Would it just be the 100 most popular from each party if they got 100? Sort of how would you divvy it up? It's very easy for us to divvy it up when we can compare it to constituencies. So as much as, Hillary Clinton actually won the popular vote in America
Oh,
by
really?
over 2 million votes, but
Oh,
lost. And I mean, I don't really like Hillary
Yeah,
Clinton in
fuck
particular.
Hillary.
Fuck the Clintons,
Fuck
innit?
Hillary.
Fuck the Clintons, like all day. But yeah, it's a difficult one because like you say with the vote share, if over 45s, but the only people that voted, Tories would have like 400 seats and Labour would have like 5. But if only under 45s voted, the Tories would have hardly any seats, and the whole country would have been Labour, including Scotland, Wales, Ireland, all of it.
Well, a lot of the older voters say that the reason younger voters find Labour more appealing is because,
Free stuff.
well, sort of that, but it's that the older generation has seen what socialism has done to the country beforehand. Obviously, Labour created the NHS, I'm pretty sure, didn't they?
Yeah.
Labour created the NHS, and then so it's like that one was good, like the one after the war, but then the ones following 70s and all that, they didn't really go so well. And so the older generation's now looking at that being like, oh well, if I vote bloody Corbyn and that, then it's just going to happen all over again.
70s, yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, me personally, I think it's a conversation that can be had, but it's like because of
It's
the way
become a culture war,
information.
innit?
Well, the way information's exchanged now with the internet, it's not so extreme socialist now. It's a bit more like, oh, what, we can actually care for homeless people. Do you know what I mean? It's more things like that rather than give everyone.
Yeah, there's a
50
big
quid each.
historical context, because the more extreme right sort of look at medieval times and think like, it fucking worked perfectly back then. Why can't we still have peasants and shit? And you can afford, like, when capitalism was first getting thought of, it didn't work in that current climate. And then there came a time when capitalism made the most sense. In my opinion, we're at that point now. Like, you can say all you want about how you believe the free market should control this and control that, but the free market has stopped us addressing the environmental issues. It's made more inequality since the 70s to now, with like neoliberalism sort of thing, Thatcher, the Clintons, Ronald Reagan, etc., all that sort of shit. Modern capitalism that doesn't actually work. But that's my point, is socialism wasn't so necessary when it was, not to sound like a fucking idiot, but like, it's sort of about saving the planet and shit now. So the conversation should move away from like, well, I don't think that should happen, I don't think this should happen. It's kind of getting to the point where what you're suggesting isn't going to help us when we come towards this catastrophic event. The only people offering that is this. So it kind of has to be the way forward. We need to sort of think about it a little bit more like we are the only tribe of humans, and we are all sitting around a campfire thinking, what the fuck are we going to do?
Well, saving the planet doesn't make the rich richer. It makes the rich poorer. Doesn't it?
And that narrative is sort of the prevailing one, because everybody that's on the news is a million times more likely to be rich than the average Joe. And I mean, I will add some context. Like when you say about the 70s, and this is a good point to make, is if you ask the average over 45 in this country who caused the financial crash, they'll say it's Labour, even though we all lived through it, and that isn't what happened. You ask people what happened in the 70s, and I talk to people all the time, 9 times out of 10, they don't know that we were under sanction from Arab oil. Basically, Canada, France, UK, and America, maybe a couple other countries as well, were being sanctioned by Arab oil. Arab oil controlled pretty much all of the oil at that point because of our support for Israel. So it's like when people sort of mention Venezuela and things like that, and Iran, etc. You've got to add in the context that when someone's being economically sanctioned, that will ruin the economy, no matter who's in charge. Capitalists can't make money with oil if there isn't any. Do you know what I mean? And as much as I do get that sort of like I do understand the negative connotations with socialism. I do understand why it's not for everybody. Like, I'm not like a total 1000% socialist and that. But at the same time, a lot of the context and a lot of the things older people throw back to in our country is straight up factually incorrect. And it's almost as true to say that the Tories have always got in power through making up a lie about Labour and the economy. So what you said is right, and they are right as well, the people that hark back to the 70s, I'm glad I didn't live through it, innit? Like, it must have been shit. Like, you got some unions demanding like £25 an hour as the economy's collapsing and shit. Like, a lot of stupid shit went on. But I could sit here for 3 hours and reel off all the stupid things people have done under capitalism, but would anyone be able to use that as an argument against capitalism? No. But one thing goes wrong with socialism, and that's it. Oh no, that's a stupid idea. Like, capitalism's killed more people than Stalin did, and he purposefully killed people. Do you know what I mean? Systematic and with a smile isn't always better than... I mean, I don't want Stalin, I don't want it to come across like that, innit? I'm not a communist. But I think the conversation it almost needs to be taken out of these people's hands, innit? Like,
yeah, I mean, this was because we were talking about right wing and left wing earlier.
Yeah.
And I was saying how I don't like the fact that we're constricted to each side of a wing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It gives you a limited amount of space. Like, why can't we move elsewhere with it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's, well, because we've got a lot of two-party systems going on in both America and England. Well,
yeah.
Because that's the only two countries we can really... Well, most people in England can relate to.
Yeah. It's the closest.
Yeah.
It's the sister.
So they've just got a two-party system, and it's got to the point where it's like... They're now both so powerful in their own way.
They almost don't have to listen.
Yeah, like, are we ever going to get out of it?
Yeah. I think...
It needs a revolution, but everyone's being pacified now. We're all such passive people now. Like you look at videos of like just rallies that went on in the 30s and 40s and stuff, and you look at the amount of people that are there, and you're like how many people would turn up nowadays?
Bro, our parents are the first generation to never have to go out and fight for something, and they take that out on us. They didn't live up to their parents who had to fight in wars and fight for the right to not have to work 12-hour shifts as a child in a factory, etc., etc. All of these, I will add, socialist causes. We don't have that socialist movement that is just there constantly, always on the street, always fighting for people's rights, making sure that don't get taken the piss out of. Our parents didn't bother with that because they was told that no, you don't fuck all this unionising and unity. If you unionise, you miss out. As a collective, it's all about individualism. You just go to... Don't worry about everyone else's issue. If you go to work and just shut up, get on with it, go home, you'll get a house, you'll get a mortgage, and everything will be alright. One day you'll be middle class. And that's completely fucked up though, because again, it makes us pacifists. We didn't grow up with our parents saying like, you fight fucking tooth and nail for what you believe in. It's you stand up for what you believe in. You just stand up and wait for somebody else to take the lead. Yeah. And I noticed that, I think that's another, like you said, what Labour's biggest problems with losing is that all of the right side of the party, the older sort of 40 plus white people, not to generalise and that, they are the people that go to the meetings. They are the people that actually turn up and do everything else, rather than like the socialists, the younger people usually, are doing it all on the internet. So it has no real effect. Like, you can fucking petition all you want. You can go on Twitter and think, fucking hell, how did Boris Johnson get in? Everyone hates him. But they're not changing anybody else's opinions.
Yeah, they're just typing and then going to sleep.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's it. And we've lost that, like, actual physical movement. And...
I mean, I don't want it to sound too much like, you know, the Queen's a lizard kind of conspiracy, but maybe they're trying to sort of push it that way so it actually completely prevents any sort of
Well,
uprising.
this is it. This is the first time in human history where a government can bring in a new law that's negative, and people will say, "Oh, that's just the way it is."
Yeah.
No, it weren't, because it's a new law. But that has changed. The way it isn't like, it's become like, oh no, we just get punished by our governments. Do you know what I mean? They fuck up the economy and then they bail out all the banks with our money, and we end up with stagnated wages and shit. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Like, no, that was like more for like when the winters were really cold and you had to sort of be like, it's just the way it is, we've got to get through it. Not like our masters punish us. That's just the way it is. Like, just because that battle's never ended doesn't mean that people weren't always fighting that battle. We've stopped fighting that battle. We're like, and to take it away from like socialist movements and shit, like just in general, like you see like the Iraq War. I think that was the last sort of that was the last bit of pulp in the orange. 1 million people out on the streets protesting Iraq, but it happened anyway. And I feel like that was the bottom line, and people were just like, that's the way it is.
Yeah.
There's nothing we can do. Just focus on making your life all right.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, because we've got all these social medias that are promoting the mindset of obviously being successful, having the nice car, the nice girl, whatever. That it does lead to that mentality where, yeah, you are concentrating more on yourself than the bigger picture.
Yeah, yeah.
But then it's good that we have things like this, like podcasts, that you can actually have this conversation and spread it out. And because I don't think enough people are having the conversation about how pacified people are becoming.
Yeah, people
Like
get a bit
people really
defensive.
underestimate
Yeah.
how much the internet is impacting
Yeah.
all of us. Like, even look at how like TV kind of affected everyone in the early 2000s. Like, everyone was zombies.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then now it's turning into going from don't sit too close to the TV
Yeah.
3 meters away to now having some glasses with a fucking screen on them. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy.
And
Crazy. Should probably avoid swearing. So
Nah, that's calm.
YouTube are gonna fucking.
We
come
need
up.
to. We'll come up with a cool beep or something, innit?
Yes, Scoop.
It was
But-
from earlier, wasn't it?
yeah. And but I think another good example is like in the 70s, if the government, or 70s, 80s, whatever, maybe the 80s was like the last dying embers of like real people movements, is if the government started sending random people home because of the Windrush generation. No, but if the government started sending people from the Windrush generation home in the 70s or 80s, random countries. I mean, there was even a fucking white British kid that got a letter about, and they was threatening to send him to a country that he'd never been to in his life.
Oh wow.
If that happened in the 70s and 80s, people would have marched on Parliament. There'd have been riots in the sort of more populated by minorities areas. But now, something happens and a hashtag starts. Not a movement, not an attack on that business, not a threat to these people's money. A hashtag. We think that cancelling people works.
Oh yeah, it doesn't.
It don't fucking work.
People are still
man.
playing R. Kelly songs.
Bro, it turns them into something bigger than they were. It, almost a bit like a martyr. And yeah, it's tricky because half of me sort of thinks like no one's got it in them anymore. So what's the point? But I don't think I could go to bed and sleep right if I decided in my head that right, yep, working class struggle's over. Sorry about racism. Sorry about inequality. That's just our government, lads. Do you know what I mean? Like, I do feel like we sort of have got a bit of a responsibility still, and the one promising thing is the climate protests. As much as we can go into the background to all that sort of shit, and if it's dodgily funded, and if it's just basically a new version of green capitalism that isn't going to help anyone.
Well, let me ask you something. So there's been what's their name?
Pretty Patel.
No, what's that group? Extinction.
Extinction Rebellion.
Extinction Rebellion. Yeah, so obviously they've been seen like disrupting commuters and all that sort of stuff.
Mm.
I mean, what's your kind of take on that? Do you think
Civil disobedience is the answer, but you don't go down to the fucking East End and do it whilst all of the normal people are trying to go home? Especially considering the protesters...
They're in Canning Town.
Exactly, that's what
Why-
I mean.
why
Like,
doing
they're
in
just
Canning
stopping
Town?
working people
Yeah.
earning their money, innit? Like, you kind of want to turn up at Westminster and do that, innit? Because you're only going to be fucking up people. The odd person might be late to the theatre, but most of the people there are the people you're trying to get the message across to. All that, like with that thing in Canning Town, all that's done is now turn all the working people against them,
Yeah.
if you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. And now you got... Because now you got, like...
Fighting from two fronts.
Yeah, exactly. Because now you've got... Even situations like... what's her name? Greta
Thunberg.
Yeah. She's spreading a positive message.
I think we're the first podcast in the world not to mock her.
Yeah, it's
For
like...
being a
Well, this is what I'm
little
saying.
girl.
Everyone's mocking her and that. You got the President of the United States mocking her because of this and that and the people behind her and whatever. But at the end of the day...
She's fucking
She's
right.
talking about saving the fucking planet.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
why?
The honour
How
has
are we
gone.
gonna sit there and slate a fucking? How old is she? Like
16 now. She's 16 now.
16. She's. I
So
think
she was
she's
14,
she's got
13 when it
Asperger's or
started.
she's
Yeah, she has
autistic.
got Asperger's,
yeah. She's doing all the. I get okay. There might be some dodgy people behind her. All right, cool.
Yeah.
If they're
That's
the
for another
problem,
pod.
if they're the coming
Like,
soon.
no, 'cause it's proper interesting.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. But like, if these people are so bad, why don't we put our energy into talking about why these people are bad and not just slate her?
Yeah.
Because at the
Yeah.
end of the day, for one, she's a little girl.
That's
Like,
it.
why are we
We've
getting
got-
on her?
that's
She's
the
a
thing
little
though,
girl. And
we've-
secondly, the message is so needed.
You can't
and
argue with
You
it.
can't argue with it. She might get a little fact wrong here and there. She might use a fucking non-biodegradable plastic.
Yeah.
So do you.
Yeah.
So does
you
everyone.
can't not. That's why she's so desperate.
Yeah.
Because we're living in a world where just existing harms the environment, whether you like it or not.
Well, that's the thing. And now you've got these people coming on the socials and that being like, oh yeah, she's doing this and she's doing that. Like, she's not really helping. But
uppity, she's jumped up.
But like you said, we're brought up in an environment where, like, yeah, you got to get to work, and to get to work, you got to use petrol, and you got to
Yeah.
do this, and you got to do that, and if you want an electric car, you got to make money.
Yeah.
And blah, blah. Do you know what I
And
mean?
I'll tell
Like,
you how we won't solve it: punching down at fucking 16-year-old girls.
No.
Like you say, we've got to start talking about the people behind her. If that's why you don't like her, you sort of got the responsibility to explain to your viewers why that's the reason why you don't like her.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, oh look, I'm a 16-year-old girl that thinks I know better than everybody else and shit. Because
yeah,
like,
that's a terrible argument.
but this is the thing. This is what I mean by, like, we've because of our, like, not our parents specifically, but that generation, is they've made punching down so much more like it's not like, how dare you do that to us? It's how dare you jump up and tell these masters how they should. You know what I mean? It's like, I see it and it just makes my stomach churn. And it honestly, like, anyone that tries to do anything for the work, I mean, Corbyn, perfect fucking example. The one thing you can't fuck about is that man's integrity, and that is the one thing that everyone is just throwing to the wind. And you think, like, and someone made a good point. I mean, I'm not likening him to fucking Jesus. I mean, even he'd laugh at that. But if Jesus came along now, people would just call him some crazy fucking social justice warrior, and no one would listen to him because they wouldn't like to be told what he's got to say. And yeah, it's proper weird now how, like, and you see it through, like, I mean, what can we expect from people like Piers Morgan and that? But Piers Morgan and people like that have such an influence, especially on, like, white British culture. And at the end of the day, 83% of the country is white and British, so they're always going to control the narrative when it comes to votes and shit. And so if we've got people like Piers and that playing up to that constantly, literally, like, mocking her Asperger's as well, saying she talks funny and that. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, do you know what I mean? That's so fucking deep. You got some guy that got sacked from editing because he hacked dead girls' phones and shit. He put up fake images of, like, soldiers torturing people and that. And he's sitting there telling the entire nation not to fucking worry about climate change, but actually to just be pissed off that a little girl's talking about it. And everyone seems to just skirt away from the issue. And then when you do get them on it, it's, oh well, is it man-made or is it nature? Like, what does it? Why does it matter who made it? Doesn't it matter how many of us it's gonna kill?
Yeah.
Like, if we used a nuclear bomb on someone, they couldn't be like, oh, for fuck's sake, that bloody Germany who gave birth to that scientist that invented the atom bomb. No, like, it'd be our fault. But when it comes to social issues, it's weird. The blame game has got very odd, and people like Corbyn are being spent because of it, and the world doesn't have many people like that. And once people like Corbyn and Greta go away, we've only got the deniers, we've only got the people that don't really care about us and shit like that. And it does worry me how much, like I said, like particularly the white British working class, not the working class, because the working class actually voted more in favour of Corbyn, but the typical white British doesn't know fuck all about fuck all, but he reads the paper on his lunch. Like, they have such an alignment to sort of Boris Johnson and that, because they see people like that as more anti-establishment, because they're like anti-students. And people almost see like young protesters as the establishment and not like the policemen beating them up and shit. I don't know.
They see it as the, well, it's the snowflake. It's the snowflakes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everyone who's against. That's I mean that's one of the things that stood out to me the most during this election was how anyone who was like, I was having a few debates with like Conservative voters, and how whenever I'd say anything that was a bit like, do you know what I mean, on the side of socialism or against, I don't know, even just like Boris's racist comments and that, you get called a snowflake and that, and it's like the term snowflake is just as bad as the term as calling the other side. So people who are on the more social side calling the other side racists. And all this,
It's
and that's
go-to comebacks.
Exactly.
It's easy, isn't it? Because they hear their parents say it.
Yeah, and do you know what? Is that it's been fueled to the point that traditionally, I mean, like historically, and especially in Britain as well, and this gets masked over in school, the news, everything. Like, England had a very sort of socialist a good, active socialist working class. We always did. They always fought for things. They were always the first country to introduce certain rights, etc. But now, they've managed to persuade the country not to bother about the class war. Like I said, that's just the way it is. Like, they're just gonna fuck us over, etc., etc. But what pisses me off is fucking students and their bloody vegan Gregs and things like that. And so people voted against Corbyn. They'd say it's because of the policies and that, but they didn't know fuck all about the policies, and I'm comfortable saying that. Fucking find me someone.
I'm gonna bait him out because he deserves it. Tom, who also has Tomcast, go check out Tomcast. But he's a bloody Tory, so I'm gonna tear him down. I'm having a discussion with him. It's a debate, and
they never want to talk facts. They just want to call you names and shit.
Well, I'm not gonna get into that, but he was talking to me about this and that and how Corbyn has neglected certain people and blah blah blah. But I asked him, I was like, do you actually know because he voted for Tory. He said he would have voted Labour, but he ended up voting. He was one of the people who switched. So, and he's our age as well, do you know what I mean?
You're a fucking class traitor. Dead serious, bro. Class traitor.
But he was I got him to do one of them policy tests, and it turned out he was more.
Yeah.
He was more of a Labour supporter than me.
He didn't read the Labour manifesto, because people always say it. Oh yeah, but what about the northern voters voted for Tory because there wasn't policies for them? It's just for the middle class champagne socialists. There wasn't one policy in there that bettered the middle class over the working class. The manifesto was actually going to bring industry back to the north and shit. Like, that's what fucked the north up. Having no jobs, no economy, no money. Labour offers that, and then they go, do you know what? Because Boris don't like brown people, I think he aligns with me a little bit more. And then they like, people sort of align themselves subconsciously with negativity, whether we like it or not. We do. Fear is a lot more powerful than positivity, and
100%.
the fear of Corbyn not doing it outweighed the fact that he was actually going to. Like, this is a guy, the only guy who's been pretty straight for 40 years, and yet everyone questioned his motives and no one else's that change every week.
Well, how often did you hear the term, as long as it's not Corbyn?
Yeah, and the news started
Corbyn.
that. The news started that. That didn't come from people well thought out opinions.
Well, speaking of the news, because while we're deep into the politics and UK politics now, we might as well get into it. Like,
yeah, sorry.
Sorry,
everyone. When I'm about. It gets depressing.
What about? I mean, the BBC have kind of showed their true colours, and well, maybe not show. Well, you could say show their true colours, but they kind of exposed themselves
more than
on
ever.
a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, maybe they haven't been, I can't say throughout the ages they've been
They were
conservative
definitely
or whatever.
more balanced back in the day.
Yeah.
1,000%.
They probably were. But like, and I'm not saying that they've always been conservative or whatever, but what we saw in this last election, that
desperation.
There was an agenda.
Yeah.
There was 100% an agenda, to the point where you got people like, did Gary Neville say anything about the BBC? No, he didn't.
He said the media.
He said the media
is fueling.
But I think he was probably.
Yeah. We know who he means.
We know the real ones.
Big guys. No, big up Gary Neville. For that.
Big up.
It's important.
And do you know what? I think the fact that people like him are now coming out, where he appeals to the more just average person sitting there watching football on a Sunday.
Yeah.
And whatever.
Your normal.
And he's going to come out and be like, well, they are doing this, by the way.
Yeah.
And then you got like the presenter being like, "Oh no, these aren't the views of Sky Sports." And then it's like, wait, hang on a sec.
Racism's bad. Quick! We don't know if that's true or not.
And he was like, "What? So you don't agree?" He was like, "What? So you don't agree?" I was like, it's ridiculous. But anyway, speaking of evil empires.
Yes.
We're doing like two different songs.
Yeah. Both by the same composer, so it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Disney. Yes.
Evil Disney.
Star Wars Episode 9.
Star Wars Episode shit.
Episode shite. Star Wars Episode 9 is we hope, the final film in the Skywalker saga.
Yes.
And there's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, there is.
We're both proper Star Wars nerds, innit?
Yeah.
There's a bit to unpack.
I'm gonna just start with a little question. Did this remind you a lot of the last season of Game of Thrones?
I don't watch Game of Thrones.
Ah.
Yeah, so
fucked it. Right.
We're in the whole podcast.
Yeah. Essentially, Game of Thrones, very similar to Star Wars.
Really well.
It was very in depth. It all made sense.
They rushed it in the last season.
And then
they this said, is the thing. I felt when I was. By the way, spoilers. We're probably going to spoil some shit. So if you haven't watched it, click away. Yeah. Well, don't click away. Click forward.
It's probably not even in the cinema still. So it's too late.
It's
wait till Blu-ray.
Yeah,
who watches Blu-ray? DVDs.
Yeah, that died.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I felt from start to finish it was so rushed, and then now that the news is coming out that there's a JJ cut, and the JJ cut's meant to be
like an hour longer,
hour and a half longer.
Fucking hell.
Hour and a half longer. See, there's so much stuff, bro. There's, oh my god,
I don't even know what to pick. I don't know what to pick out. I know, innit? Will we come back?
Well, there's like, because there was apparently, because they filmed all the Force ghosts. They had Mace Windu, Samuel Jackson. They had Anakin.
Anakin's actor kicked off about it, didn't he?
Yeah, he got pissed off. Yeah, no, they apparently they cut all that out because they felt like they wanted a story that was more tied together with just Luke and Leia.
Yeah, I don't.
Where did
they get this?
I don't know, because they made it so much like. I thought Leia had way too many scenes.
Yeah.
They should have
was
rest
part
in
of Luke's
peace
story.
What's her real name?
Carrie Fisher.
Carrie Fisher, rest in peace, Carrie Fisher.
Yeah. Big up. No diss to the original Princess Leia and that. Big part of Star Wars, but a big part of sort of Luke's arc, Darth Vader's arc, like the main characters of the fucking story.
Don't get me into Darth
Like-
Vader's arc. Oh,
but this
my
is what
God,
I
you're
mean.
gonna. Nah, I need to say this.
How did you survive?
The
I
last-
escaped.
The last three.
Escaped a fucking atom
Oh
explosion.
my God! Fucking. If you're watching this right now, go watch. Go watch. Go watch the end of episode 6.
Yes.
Watch what happens to the Death Star. It fucking blows up into fucking smithereens.
Yeah, literally.
Literally,
nuclear explosion.
explodes, and then apparently he's alive again.
Yeah.
But whatever, I can
I
like
escaped.
a lot happens in Star Wars. I can get past that. The Force brought him together. Whatever, I can get past that. But the thing that gets me the most, is the fact that they call it the Rise of Skywalker when it's actually all about Palpatine.
Yeah.
It's actually all about the Palpatine family. It's Rey versus Sidious.
Yeah.
Which is the Palpatine family. So
Yeah.
that's just fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And also they at the whole point of I heard a quote from George Lucas. It wasn't a quote. It was just something he said, but
Yeah.
it was something about how he didn't want to do 7, 8, and 9 because he felt like the story started and ended with Anakin.
Yeah.
So Phantom Menace, they find him, works
Yeah.
his way up. Episode 6, he dies,
Yeah.
and then it's like
Because it
you brought
works
around-
like that, doesn't
you
it?
brought
'Cause of
around
the
7.
ending.
Okay, cool. You can start 7, but you better lead it to some mad place.
That's it. 7 should have been the introduction to the new characters, and then Luke should have come back in as the hero.
Speaking of new characters, do you know what pisses me off the most?
What?
John Boyega. Poor guy,
I
man.
know,
Poor
I
fucking guy.
know.
Do you know what? He should have been a main character.
Yeah.
I'm
yeah,
sorry, but
yeah.
what's her name? What's the
Daisy Ridley.
Daisy Ridley?
Mate,
I'm
I
sorry,
fucking-
trash actor.
I
Trash.
fucking
You're trash.
fancy you so much. Don't listen to him.
Your acting was trash in 9, but I'm gonna say
it could be
your acting was
the
trash.
editing, it could be the directing,
Yeah.
but it didn't work.
It didn't work.
It just
It
didn't.
didn't work. It didn't feel like a story. It felt more like, oh yes, I'm the nice British girl and I'm reading some lines.
Yeah.
And it's like it just
Yeah.
didn't feel legit. Like I like.
Don't even
Let
know
me, do you know what? I feel like 7 and 8. They happened. Okay, 8 fucked up. Cool.
Yeah,
There
it just
was
fucked up
there,
the Luke
but there
bit.
was a way to bring it all back together with 9.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's what the JJ cut was trying to do.
Yep.
But then all these Disney execs have come
Don't
in
worry
and
about the story making
ruined.
sense.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
put
yeah.
the
No.
new merch in it.
They made it shorter so they could show more showings.
Yeah,
Ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
they just fucked up the story just
Yeah.
so they could make more. Like they would have probably made more money.
yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Do you know what as well? How you can tell that they're sort of fucking the nerds, the old school people off and bringing the kids in is, do you know what moment I knew? They can fly? They can fly? They can fly! They've been flying since fucking episode 2. Since the fucking Clone Wars. They've been flying. Yeah?
slightly.
You
They had
play
the
all the old
jetpacks.
Battlefronts and that, you got jetpacks and shit.
No, they do still.
But they brought that in because the younger kids won't know, and they'll be like, "Oh my god, flying stormtrooper! I want that for my birthday." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that, when I saw that, that was the knife and the twist, and I was just like, oh. So you can take out all of like the really important scenes, but you can put in all the scenes that push the merch a little bit, and.
They even wanted to get all them little characters in, all the little cute characters, so they can just sell toys and that.
Yeah, why couldn't they just go like to Kashyyyk and see the Wookiees or something? Do you know what I mean? Like they have to. And actually, in the JJ cut, don't they actually see more of like Tatooine or somewhere like that?
I'm
Something
not
a bit more
sure.
original.
I haven't heard about that. I've
'Cause
heard about other stuff, but I haven't heard about that.
Yeah,
I mean, do you know what? Episode 9. Yeah, this is Harry's breakdown of how it should have gone. Yeah.
yes.
Cool.
Theory
cool.
time.
Let's- Theory time. So, what I think should have happened was John, like, okay, Razor Palpatine. Okay, cool. We can let that run. I think, obviously, we had Ben Solo, aka Kylo Ren. He had his sort of change of heart. He went from the dark side to the light side. He came over to the light side.
Yeah.
He should have been the one to survive. He is by blood a Skywalker.
Yep.
So the rise of
story arc,
Skywalker,
innit?
and do you know what? This is what it should have, because one of the scenes they cut out was Hayden Christensen saying to Ben Solo, about how he's like how like after his death, his Force Ghost is like, oh, I was light, blah blah blah, like telling him to turn to the light side, basically. So that means that Anakin would have still had influence on how.
And it would have made so much more.
It would have. Yeah. Anakin would have had influence on Palpatine actually being destroyed for the final time.
Yeah.
But he had zero influence.
He just Skype Ray every time.
Fucking Skype. Them fucking Skype calls. What even was
I just grabbed a necklace and he accidentally grabbed the necklace. Oh, and it happens to be an indigenous necklace to this planet that he can just tell like that as well. Like, how would you grab a necklace? Bearing in mind, yeah, if I grabbed a necklace from Bolivia, I wouldn't fucking know it's from Bolivia and we're on the same planet. How the fuck would you just grab a necklace and be like, oh my god, this is part of that planet that's on the outer rim that I went there that one time 30 years ago? Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. But again, like you say, the way it was rushed was that plot holes, there can be plot holes if they're sort of half-assed filled back in. But when they're just left and go, there's no hole there. Yeah. What hole? What, Chewie died? No, he didn't. Yeah. Luke's lightsaber got cut in half in the last episode. No, it didn't. Kylo's helmet was destroyed on the ship. Kylo leaves the ship. The ship gets destroyed with the helmet on it. So how's the helmet survived?
The monkeys put it together, innit?
yeah. Well, that was weird as well.
Oh my god, do you know what pissed me off?
Why did he have chimps? What the fuck?
Do you know what else pissed me off?
Snoke.
When fucking Chewie died. Or didn't die. Oh my god. That could have been, because you know what? This is what I'm saying about.
It would have added.
This is
what
I'm saying about the arcs and who ended up at the end and stuff. It all comes full circle. Rey should have used that Force lightning, found that inner darkness in herself, and she should have turned bad.
Yeah, because she turned bad for 5 seconds.
She didn't even turn bad.
I know. Yeah, she just saw herself. Oh, there's me looking a bit more hot.
I'd never felt at any point that there was really. She was ever enticed into that, even though it's in her blood.
Yeah,
it's in her blood to turn to the dark side.
She was Palpatine.
She was literally
more evil than Darth Vader when he was his most evil. Palpatine,
exactly.
Really, when you look at it, it's like the most evil ever.
Yeah. He was probably the most powerful. Well, not the most powerful, but he was the most successful Sith Lord. Well,
that was human.
We're gonna get into it too.
Yeah. Let's not start talking about Darth Plagueis and shit.
Start bringing in fucking Canon. Old Republic and that.
Yeah. Well, technically 4,000 years
look at Darth Nihilus. No, but yeah, man. So I think John Boyega, Finn should have found his like connection with the Force.
That was my favourite part of the film. Well, it was the most convincing bit, was his acting during it, and like it just made sense.
Someone going from a stormtrooper to one of the only remaining Jedi. Yeah. That would have been fucking. Yeah. That would have been incredible.
And in like the books that back up the films and that, Finn was like one of the best stormtroopers ever. He was always like really sick and shit. So it kind of like they could have done that throughout the films, but they just chose not to.
But they did. But they just did it in the shittest way.
Yeah.
They just basically said, oh yeah,
Rey has to save him every time.
Rey has to save him because she's the fucking what's the word? Mary Sue.
Mary Sue.
She's the fucking Mary Sue, isn't she? Whereas like, bro,
she should have
turned to the dark. Because imagine that. The film starts off. Rey's the fucking good guy,
and then Anakin.
John Boyega's in love with her.
Yeah.
And Kylo Ren is the bad guy.
Yeah.
And then, by the end of it, Kylo's the one who survives, and he's the one to carry on the Skywalker legacy. Yeah. Rey's dead, but she's sacrificed herself to take out Palpatine, or...
Technically, she's got all Palpatine's powers, according to Palpatine. Palpatine said, if you kill me, you will become me. And she was like, no, I won't do that. I'll just kill you instead.
Yeah, with my... Jedi deflection? What even was that?
Yeah, if Mace Windu can't, she can't.
Yeah, Mace Windu didn't. No. Luke didn't. Darth Vader didn't. She can't. No. I don't care. And how is he just gonna? And he just like, it's getting me. Shall I just stop?
What was the crowd? Was that like obviously the Sith are a race?
The crowd was that was ancient Sith. That was the ancient, bro. When I saw them, this is the thing. I was getting so mad about some shit. Yeah, but when them cloaks all rose up and that, I was like, oh shit, is there gonna be like some mad like all these red lightsabers? Fam, if they'd have literally just had some scene where all these red lightsabers,
they should have done that instead of all the fucking ships coming out the sea, because that was that's like the second scene, and as soon as that happens, you just think, okay, so they're underground, under ice, and he just raised loads of ships out of the ice with crews and everything like. That bit doesn't make sense.
That was just ridiculous.
Like the cloning Snoke and that, maybe that sort of shit wouldn't piss me off so much if...
Go on, what's he saying?
You're right, Sammy. It wouldn't have pissed me off so much if some of the other shit made sense, but the fact that it was like, the ships come out of the sea, and I cloned Snoke and I've got like a million... It was just, everything was... convenient.
It was good. Well,
and after 7 and 8 being that way, you kind of waiting for the big sort of, like you say, Rey turning bad for a section of the film, Kylo actually having sort of conversations with other Jedi,
with Darth Vader, his own granddad.
Luke trained Ben, didn't he?
But why does Kylo have more of a connection with Sidious than Vader?
Yes.
He is literally a descendant of Vader.
Yeah.
He's Leia's son.
And if Darth Vader couldn't have turned into a Force ghost, then how the fuck did Palpatine stay physically alive?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what would have been cool as well? You remember when Palpatine shocks them and then he starts growing his fingers back?
Yeah.
I felt like in that scene, he kind of sucked all the energy out of them and then, like, they just came back alive.
Yeah,
how did he
power from them and then still be weaker than them?
Exactly.
Like
he managed to hold them up in fucking mid-space and then.
And since when could you save people's lives?
Oh no, there was no. There is. That's like a really rare Jedi technique. Like there was ones who could do it before.
But she's never been trained by a Jedi.
No, but it's probably the way your midichlorians all align, innit?
Yeah,
that you can do, because all the Jedis have different abilities.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So her one was, she had the healing thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And
but
she
there
could
should have been,
and be distracted, and she could basically fly, and she could do all this shit that Yoda couldn't do. Yoda couldn't even fucking lift the ship, and she just goes. Zzz.
Yeah.
Like what? Like
and from that, it was only from her being trained by Leia. And I can't lie.
That's what I mean.
Leia wasn't much
Jedi
of a. She wasn't much of a Jedi. She wasn't. She did become. She became after 6. She became a Jedi.
Yeah.
But she
when the Jedi
she wasn't
all but gone.
She was
she wasn't trained by Windu.
If we just put it, Leia versus Luke.
Yeah.
Luke's winning that 100 times.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But this is the thing. Luke was made into a joke. So they
did you hear what Mark Hamill was saying?
Oh, don't.
He's
mate, there's like a 30-minute video.
It's like
of
watching
different clips.
Watching Mark Hamill's like watching Claude last season. Like,
I know.
Like watching Claude from Arsenal Fan TV.
I know it is. No, but it's sad because he, out of all of them, didn't do much else.
Yeah.
His character, not only was he the main character out next to Anakin, but he was also the one that you only associated that man with Star Wars, which made him even more iconic. And then to basically just have him as some like decrepit old moody man that, and fucking Rey Mary Sue just walks in and just makes everything is 10 times more fucking powerful and all this shit.
Yeah, but you know what that is though? They just want to sell Rey toys. They want Rey to be because the thing is,
but they
the social.
I think they could. I think
fuck Catherine Kennedy, by the way.
Yeah, fuck you, man.
She comes in and she's trying to make this sort of multicultural film. She's trying to make the lead hero. They're trying to make the lead hero a girl and all this, the powerful women.
Romance.
Do you know what? Do you know what would have been way better? If they made Finn the new the new wave of Jedi.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You kill off Rey. Yeah. You kill off Kylo. And the Skywalker's done now. The Skywalker's ended. So it's like the Skywalkers sacrificed themselves to stop Palpatine.
Yeah.
And now there's Finn sort of sitting there like.
And maybe Kylo. Maybe.
Well, like I said earlier, I think Kylo should have survived, but in a different scenario, if it could have been Palpatine versus Skywalker still. So Rey versus Kylo. Obviously, Rey switches to the dark side.
Yeah.
Kylo's on the light side. They do whatever. Whether it's Rey and Rey kills Palpatine and then becomes evil, and then it's her versus Kylo, and Kylo channels all the Force ghosts and that, and then they would have. I feel like they could have. I think all of them should have died. Skywalker should have ended there.
Yeah.
Palpatine should have ended there, and then Finn could come along and be this new, like, it's a new name. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's even his surname? No one knows. Do you know you might know.
I don't know. No, I don't know.
But do you know what I mean? Finn it goes from Skywalker to Finn starting up this new
in the memory of the Skywalkers.
Exactly.
He
And
learned the lessons.
How are you going to call the first one The Force Awakens and the first thing of the trailer is Finn going like that? Surely that is like I'm a film. I do like films and stuff in it. So like
so you see through
like,
that straight away.
like there's that. It's kind of like when you're rapping and you got double meanings in it. Do you know what I mean? It's the representation of The Force Awakens.
That's put an expectation.
He should have been that Force Awakening.
For him
and you know what? They built him up and it's sad because they built him up so well in the first one.
Yes.
Wasted him in the second one.
Well, in the
with
first one,
with that Asian
they all
girl,
had their
and then,
roles. And they needed each other to survive. But like you said with the Mary Sue, it doesn't matter if everyone in the Republic's basically just shit now because Rey's better than anyone's ever been put together.
Look at 9. 9 just became a copy of 6, but not as good. Like it's like
not
you
as
got
much at stake. Who's nothing at stake.
Who's the fucking spice smuggler? I've forgotten his name.
Oh, Poe Dameron.
Yeah, like. They tried way too hard. Way too hard.
He's not a comedian, innit? So his quips and that, like Harrison Ford, isn't funny, but he's got that classy old man sort of thing. So his quips, when they're corny, you laugh in like a uncle-y sort of way. But Poe Dameron kind of comes across as a bit. Is a bit like a bit of a Chad, like a bit of a sort of like
hey guy,
but he didn't.
All he needed was some shades, innit?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it was just like every now and then, just like, are you sure? Like, it was just so like it was too like Han Solo was corny, but in the best possible way.
Yeah.
All the quips and the little like. You said they couldn't, and the fucking like hyper jumping and stuff like. Why introduce that?
Oh yeah, we're doing that weird bouncing thing and being in the middle of...
And then it not help in the end.
Being in the middle of like an asteroid field and then in the middle of like a city and then...
Yeah, and even when they land, they're like, that's never worked before. And he's like, well, it worked this time, but they didn't then use it later. And I thought, oh, well, maybe... Do you know what I mean? He's supposedly a really good pilot and that's like his background.
Yeah, whatever,
so
I can
maybe
accept
he'll
that.
use that in the future, yeah. But just to have that in as a convenience just completely destroys, like... Cause and effect. Every action has a reaction. That's what causes the attachment. That's what brings stakes to it. Like when Chewie, like when you said, like I think the point you was gonna make with like Chewie dying, it would have added more of like an emotional reaction out of the actors.
It's like Rey's inner dark side.
Yeah.
Was actually the because she did the Force lightning.
Yeah.
So it would have been.
But I feel you can't do that unless you're evil. That's another thing. You can't do Sith Force unless you're Sith.
Well,
so surely she must have been bad side then.
She's meant to be evil, but they just did it really fucking badly. Like they did it so badly. They should have, because when she'd done that, that should have been the point where she's sitting there going, "Oh, why do I have all these weird feelings to the dark side?" And that, do you know what I mean? I'm doing this where it was just like. Oh, it's all right. He was on the other space because there wasn't another space cruiser. And do you know what I reckon they did? Do you know why I reckon they did that? I reckon they fucked up in the filming, and there was scenes later on. I think there was scenes later on where Chewie was in it, and so they thought, "Oh, let's just bring him back to life really quick and just do that." And
the constant reshoots and stuff. Also brings it in, and you sort of in the end, do you think they'd cut out so much in that they were like, fuck it, should we just put the most sort of visual scenes in? Just put all the visuals in. That cost us the most money. We need to get money back on that. Like, how can you... like? I know the fight scene on Endor, where they meet the horse riding people, with the new Death Star that's in the sea, isn't it? That blew up like the first one blew up. how's half of it still intact and the doors opening inside and shit? And what she went to grab was still on like a holder in the middle of the room.
Oh yeah, the Wayfinder.
Oh, don't, yeah.
Call it
don't.
it's a
like
fucking
Palpatine
holocron.
would send his assassin out around the world with a knife with the directions to where he's hiding.
Oh, that was so shit as well.
Like,
the fucking convenience of it being on that
but
knife.
this is Palpatine being there in a way sort of negates, like, why would he create the First Order if he was in hiding? When Sith are in hiding, they hide. And they hide in hiding.
Yeah.
They don't hide in public view
Yeah.
with like, oh, I've got a new apprentice, but it definitely wasn't Palpatine behind this one. The First Order, like, do you know what I mean? He wouldn't have made sort of Kylo and Rey until he'd need them to destroy the Republic, but the Republic was already destroyed and things like that. Like, it's so frustrating because, like you say, it maybe it was in the original cut, but like it could have been redeemed to a point. Like, the reason why we went to watch it,
so hard.
the reason why we went to watch it was because we knew that it could still be good.
Did you watch it without me?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, we watched it without you, boy.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, man.
Just like we did with Harry Potter.
You weren't meant to tell him.
No, but it really reminded me of like this, and it's kind of like the Avengers. I mean, the one big thing, and I say this to everyone all the time, and they always throw some fucking random fucking straight from the fucking studios excuse to me, like fucking Captain Marvel, yeah? Where was she in all the other films? The one hero they have that's basically like Superman sort of powers. Why did she just turn up in the last episode when everyone... Do you know what I mean? And that's where films are going now. And, I mean, don't Disney own Marvel now? Or
That was them, wasn't it?
That was them that done out Avengers, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
And, mate, part of me thinks they can make new ones that are good, but anything that they get that's old is going to get ruined because it doesn't suit them to carry on someone else's work.
Well, now, if we move
Like,
if we move on from that, because now it's all the Mandalorian, and apparently there's the Darth Revan, I think.
Oh, what, from the Knights of the Old Republic?
Yeah. Apparently that's something that's in talks right now with going to be Keanu Reeves doing it, which will be wavy, innit?
I'd love that.
That'd be
See,
so
that's what I mean. They kind of... Someone said a really good idea was get the director from the Joker to do a trilogy that's a little bit darker.
I swear he is. I swear that's the...
Oh, is that the guy? Is it confirmed? Todd Phillips, in it?
It might not be confirmed, but I've heard...
Yeah, that's what I've heard as well, and that's what all the fans are pushing for.
Yeah.
Because we need to get rid of this, like, cinematic experience. Like, that's not what Star Wars is. It might have been in the 70s because of the effects and shit, but, like, that's not what made it famous. It wasn't famous. Like, Avatar would be all of our favourite things if it was just about the visuals.
Yeah.
Like, it's not. It's about, like... It was a fucking, like... It's about religion and life, and, like... It's the space version of the world.
And that's the thing, is so...
And they took
the people the people who ain't so into Star Wars, e.g. probably Catherine Kennedy...
Yeah.
And other people,
They
like
look
the
at-
other
they look
Disney
at people-
execs,
yeah.
they just look at...
You're
Oh, well,
probably a
how can I...
weirdo.
So they just watch the 6 films and go, well, how can I tie this together? Rather than actually looking into all
What
the
it
other stuff.
already means,
All
yeah.
the other stuff, because there's way more comics
Yeah.
than there is films or
Yeah.
series or anything.
Yeah.
Way more comics. There's even
Yeah.
comics about all this stuff, and she's coming out and saying there's no source material.
Yeah.
What
Well,
do you mean there's
I
no
heard-
source material? What that means is you're actually not fucking... You're not clued up about what this means at all.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to sit here and be like, you've wrote like...
Yeah.
Like, I'm
Antichrist.
I'm not gonna be like... Basically, I'm just trying not to seem like a proper fucking nerd. But
It's so hard when it comes to Star Wars.
But when it
boy.
comes to Star Wars, because if you're actually really interested in the story,
It's-
the
it's
lore
mad,
is
it's a
so
little bit-
deep.
yeah, it's
The
it's
lore is
more
so
than
deep that
yeah.
it deserves... And there's
I
so
learned
much
lessons from it.
There's so much work that's been put in on it that it deserves respect.
Yeah. Just think of the amount of hours that nerds have put, like you say, have put in to
Exactly.
being... Like, it's an obsession. It is a religion
It's
to
a life.
people.
Some people actually follow being a Jedi.
Mate, it is classed as a religion in America
Yeah.
because so many people signed it, didn't they?
Yeah, there's a church of
Consensus,
Church of Jedi.
I think on the consensus you can put Jedi as well.
Yeah.
Speaking to the mic, bro. What'd you say? What'd you say, boy?
He's been smoking drugs.
I was going to chat about the Grime beef or move on to.
Oh, the Grime beef.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, bit
Ooh.
of a Darth
Juicy,
Vader
yeah.
versus. Nah, I can't think of a decent analogy. Actually, a good analogy for Grime is that.
The old Star Wars version.
Anakin versus Obi-Wan.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just pulling
Yeah,
things
yeah.
out of hat. Don't
Yeah.
listen to me.
No, that works.
Yeah? Alright, fuck it.
Um,
Let's go with that.
Yeah. It's. Grime obviously is.
Wait. Before we get into this,
Yeah.
let's break down for the people what's happened.
Yes.
So,
It's. Yeah.
I think I want to start the story off at
Yeah.
Dot Rotten coming at J1.
Yes.
So we pull it back to the beginning. So Dot Rotten and J1 had a little tiff about a tune and all this, and there was things about invoices getting paid, and Dot Rotten charged some mad price for it, and blah blah blah. And then through that, it's come out that Steel Bangles has actually been using his name to sort of take credit for a lot of other producers' work,
Yeah.
which happens a lot. And
Yeah.
obviously, the producer who's putting in the work is still getting paid, but the work they're doing. So, for example, Dot Rotten doing Bad, huge tune, like Mo Stack. Fucking, I can't.
Yeah.
I'm on the
I know
spot. I
what
can't
you
think it's on
mean.
it, but
Yeah.
fucking like that's such a big tune, and it's got the Steel Bangles logo. Steel Bangles slapped on it. It's
Yeah.
the face of it. You know what I mean? You look at the thumbnail and there's Steel Bangles.
And
big
he'll be in the
logo.
video as well.
He'll be in the video, and then
Yeah.
Dot Rotten is nowhere to be seen.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, cool. Dot, you've put yourself in that situation because you've agreed to that.
Yeah.
But then at the same time,
If you have a
Because-
discrepancy
because-
over the money,
yeah,
you can't then go, all right, then, well, I'll just take the beat you produced,
yeah,
tweak it,
Yeah.
and put my name on it again.
yeah, slap it all over it. And
Yeah.
that's the thing, because of all this situation now. I think it's kind of like the whole Drake and Meek Mill situation, that Drake now has this stain on his career, which is slowly fading nowadays,
Yeah.
about the whole ghostwriting thing and everything. And now Steel Bangles kind of has that. He's
Yeah.
now got that tarnish on him.
Every
that's-
time you hear a tune on the radio
You're like,
now, and you hear
Steel
Steel
Bangles,
Bangles,
you're
you'll
like-
be Googling it to see who actually
like, was it
produced
Savak?
it.
Was it Dot Rotten? Like,
Yeah.
is there some new guy? Like, do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, yeah, man. And so yeah, Dot basically came at J1 and Steel Bangles. What do you
Sent
think?
for
What do you think of the diss tracks?
The first
J1,
diss track,
J1 first. J1. What do
the
you think?
first one I thought was good. It's probably actually one of the best because I don't know whether because of the quality or whether because it was the first and it was like oh shit, I
got this strain called Industry Plant. That's you, brother. I'm smoking.
Yeah,
that
jeez.
bar.
Yes.
Nuts.
Obviously,
Nuts.
for context, most famous J1 bar is "I'll take your missus."
No, brother,
No,
I'm joking.
brother, I'm joking.
That was like the word.
That
was like the most-
I tried
Another
to
brother.
catch up with you and I was
Essie's version.
Yeah, trust me. No, brother.
No, brother,
No,
I'm
brother.
joking.
Joking. No,
Honestly,
brother,
no,
I'm
honestly,
joking.
mate. No, mate, honestly, I ain't
No,
like that,
brother,
mate. Honestly, I ain't taking your bird. I would fuck her and that, though. No.
Yeah, but so
Yeah,
So I think-
that hit hard, the first
yeah,
one.
that was solid. And then
I like the
think-
little
I think one-
anime things as well. Like he's just sitting
Oh,
there, standing
yeah.
there, bunning the zoo every now and then, an anime like effect and that.
But
That's good.
that diss track was such a hard diss track, but it was funny seeing
It's gonna
none
get
of the-
overlooked because it was
none
the
of,
first.
well, none of the fucking socials posted it.
Nah,
Fucking no one. A
No.
few of the little ones did.
yeah.
Like, I don't know, one of the big ones might have, but overall,
You can see where the allegiances lie
Link Up.
with that one. They
No,
were
like Link
forced
Up.
to.
Joe, I gotta give it to Link Up now because they've started posting about
Yeah.
all that stuff a lot more now. They're getting
Yeah.
a lot better with that. But GRM, they've got an agenda. J1's, they signed J1.
They sat there going,
They signed
Dot
J1.
don't make any money anyway. He ain't gonna make no one any money. Then all of a sudden, Stormzy and Wiley get in and they go, yeah, we better start talking about it then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I was going to get into. It's like the sides that GRM are taking. It sort of opened up the conversation of how much power do GRM have.
Is it
Whether
too
it's just
much?
post, I'm not going to say it's posty because I don't know the ins and outs of it.
Yeah,
But-
they could have a board. And
Yeah,
all
there's
sorts
probably
now.
a whole. Yeah, I don't know, but it seems like GRM are the kind of they've monopolized the scene now
Yeah,
to the point
they
where
got such a
Link Up
trusted
and-
brand that they can abuse it.
exactly. So Link Up and SBTV, they're barely getting a look in,
Mm.
but they're still putting out work
Yeah,
and
cool.
that.
I mean, they're still
They're
earning money,
they're
aren't
still
they?
earning, you know what I mean? But and then obviously mixtape is just drill now.
Yeah,
Press play, mixtape's pretty much stolen its soul.
yeah,
So press
Big
plays.
time.
I don't know. I haven't checked press
No,
play in
yeah,
a
I
couple of
haven't.
years now, innit?
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it's just GRM have this overbearing hold on the scene
yeah.
that it's kind of
A
like
bit like the BBC, they can
it's-
control
yeah,
what
exactly.
gets spoken about.
And that's all right to a degree.
Mm.
But when I see that you have an agenda, e.g., dot releasing a sick this and then
them trying to
you
pretend it never
pretend
happened,
it-
innit? Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
that's what gets me the most.
Yeah.
This whole
What
UK,
the- what
this whole
the-
UK pretending it never happened.
Yeah.
Because these kids on Insta and all these socials and that, they buy into that. They
Yeah.
really buy into that. They're more interested in who has the most money, who's the cool guy,
Yeah.
rather than
responsibility.
who
What's
has
responsibility?
who's got the
Yeah.
fucking bars. Remember back in the day when you'd find like, do you know what I mean? You'd work out how Biggie's Who Shot You might be a diss to Tupac, and you're sitting there and you're listening to every lyric and you're trying to work out,
Yeah.
oh, is he saying this? Is he saying that? And it's
Yeah.
all about
Ether.
yeah, Nas. Like you're sitting there and you're listening, and you're trying to work out like, oh, where are they? Like,
Yeah,
where
what
are they,
bar
like,
is
what
it that
bar
gets
is it?
him?
Like,
Yeah,
oh,
what
did
does that
bar-
mean?
What does
Yeah,
that
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Did that
yeah.
mean that? Whereas now, is it's just like I'm not saying this to get at Stormzy because I think I rate Stormzy in it and I like what he's done. I like the way he handled all the beef and everything. He fucking like, he won it in it. He won it and he did it smart in it.
Mm.
But it kind of shows that the fact that coming through with just one clear cut line has a lot more impact than Wiley going. Do you know what I mean?
You can relate that to
What's that?
politics. Get Brexit
Yeah.
done. One.
Yeah,
A nuanced conversation people
Yeah.
didn't want to have.
yeah.
Get Brexit done.
And it's
Yeah,
our
I'll agree with
attention
that.
spans. It's our attention spans. Our attention spans are just dropping. You got all this music coming out. There's so many artists out there who are just like. I'm not gonna lie, yeah. There's a lot. I've encountered a lot of artists. I'm just like, why are you making music? Like, you don't even seem like you're feeling it. Like,
Mm.
you're just kind of more doing it for a money thing. Whether you've got ties to, like, do you know what I mean? You're one of your mates with OFB or whatever.
Yeah.
Or you're like,
You got a route in or whatever.
you got a route in, someone's your mate, innit? And then
Yeah.
they come in and they just do a little 1-2 tracks and that's it. Like, you're not actually coming with anything of substance.
No.
And it's sad because this is what these kids are now buying into.
Yeah.
They're all buying into who's the most, like, who's the flashiest, who's doing the most shows.
It don't
who's
even
doing
matter
this, who's
if
doing
they've
that.
got the most money. It just matters if they flaunt it more.
Yeah.
Things like that. Like,
'cause
that's how mad
Wiley
it's
might
got.
Wiley might be richer than Stormzy.
Oh,
We don't know.
He probably is because he probably has artists signed to him and shit, don't he? Where Stormzy's just starting on that journey. Like, don't get me wrong.
Stormzy's
innit? Like,
potential's way higher now.
a $1,000,000%.
Yeah.
'Cause- yeah, 1,000,000%.
Yeah.
The book, the Murky book, did quite well. Big up Jude Yorson on that. Good book.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I think Wiley might be a little bit just because he's been doing shows. So, I mean, he was spitting on Jungle and shit, Wiley Cat stuff. Do you know what I mean? So he's probably got quite a bit of fucking money. It releases the chart tune every year, and it always gets top 5, whether you like it or not. He's been doing that since we started school.
Bossy went worldwide.
Mate,
That was
everyone
huge.
says that. Everyone I hear say that. They say, when I went abroad, all I heard was Bossy.
Literally.
That's all.
everywhere.
Like my mum in Ibiza, it was just Bossy.
Yeah.
Everywhere was like a night where one of the artists was there, and they just play that on repeat in it.
Yeah.
And because I think Idris Elba was DJing when she went Ibiza.
Oh, man.
Yeah, sick like, innit? Because he's a sick DJ as well. Like, he actually is, innit? It's not
Yeah.
like one of those things like where a cast member from Towie becomes a DJ, innit? Like, I mean, Idris Elba, I remember back in the day, he actually done a hip-hop documentary and shit, and he was
Oh,
an
really?
MC DJ, then he went obviously I think he was in The Wire by then, but do you know what I mean? He's always been a pretty multifaceted guy. But
Was he in The Wire? I haven't seen
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Oh,
yeah, that's
mad.
where he blew up from.
Oh,
I think that's where he
crazy.
blew up from, but he was definitely in it, yeah.
That's been one of them series that I've always been like,
Oh, bro,
I need
got
to
do
see,
it.
and then
You've
you
gotta
never
do
see.
it.
Yeah, no,
It's
I will.
like
I will.
not watching The Wire's like not
on
watching,
video now, I
not
have to
watching
watch
the
it.
old Lord of the Mics clashes, in it.
Yeah.
Like it's the
Well,
context.
I was actually gonna say, because you mentioned about Wiley spitting on Jungle before,
Mhm.
and you mentioned how obviously there's like just like live shows and that, and I obviously with all these clubs shutting down in the last couple of years in London and stuff, that whole culture of
That's what killed the
of-
grime scene.
yeah, that whole rave culture is completely fucking it's completely dying now.
Yeah.
And like,
And if there is a
it's-
night, everyone stood there, either backs up against the walls, taking pictures with their bottles and that, like fucking girls, or they're all just standing there with
Yeah.
their own phones
yeah,
up.
all you
like,
flexing at the clubs, you look stupid.
yeah, bro,
you look
fuck all that
you
shit,
look
innit? Like,
stupid, man.
if you've got money, yeah, take a bit of responsibility and stop flaunting all of these cheap thrills, innit, and show the house that you've got off, innit?
Yeah,
Like,
trust.
people do the wrong things, innit? Like,
Let's not get too into that, innit?
Yeah,
But what
yeah,
I was
yeah.
gonna say is obviously you're talking about Lord of the Mics clashes,
yeah,
all of that stuff. I think I think one thing that needs to come back with now Stormzy and Wiley both, and Dot and even JK and everyone all jumping back on the grime thing. I think now's the time that we set up some real grime clashes. Fuck ads. I like ads in it, but fuck all the ads rappers.
they'll look after themselves.
yeah, yeah,
they don't
they're-
need
that's
the
all the
American
Fredos
scene
and all
will
that.
always back their music
Yeah,
up.
they've got
They don't need the grime scene.
they've
innit,
got
to
that
back
they've
them
got
up.
that popularity to them.
Yeah,
But there's all these other people like Stormzy. Fair enough, go do your pop tracks. Even Wiley, go do your pop tracks. I don't really care about that too much.
see, that's the thing.
But-
I do personally. I don't class Stormzy as a grime MC, and I
yeah,
do.
a lot of people don't.
I feel he's a rapper in my eyes, and I'm
Yeah.
not dissing him for that. But I do feel like I do understand. Oh, I understand both their points of view in it, but
Yeah.
I do understand where Wiley's coming from, where he's like forcing him to get on grime because he's
Yeah.
like, at the moment, if someone searches grime, Stormzy
Stormzy's
comes
the
up,
first one.
Giggs comes up. I mean,
Yeah.
Giggs has been public about it and said, "Stop calling me grime. I
Yeah.
rap. This
Yeah.
isn't grime. This is UK rap. They're different. You got to give them their different props." Novelist, Mez, that's grime, innit? Like,
Well, this is what I was gonna say. So, I think we should bring them grime clashes back, and then because you look at Mez is probably getting about. He's not getting massive numbers.
No.
He's not, but he's
got
so talented.
Yeah, yeah.
The guy's so
Sick.
talented.
Actually,
I
as a
love-
master
like-
of ceremonies,
like
innit?
being
Like, back to the raw.
being a
Yeah.
raw grime MC.
Yeah.
He is like he's levels in
Yeah.
it, and novelist as well.
Yeah.
He's levels as well.
Yeah.
And I think it would be so cool if we had all these MCs just
Yeah,
jumping
mate,
back, and that's
Fuck
what this
the
has been
culture
now.
clash this year. Just do a big grime one. The old heads versus the new heads, innit? Some shit like that.
Yeah,
innit?
something,
Fuck all the.
something.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, fuck all the other genres off for a
Something.
year,
But
innit?
bring back that old. Do you know what I mean? Because I remember when I first saw grime and they would be standing next to each other, insulting each other really badly, but they're both looking in the camera or something. We're both looking out to the crowd and just trying to get the biggest reaction.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I always found it so strange that they can say all this stuff, and yet it's still kind of love. Well, not love, but
yeah, I
there's
mean,
a
lot
mutual
spoiled
there's a
over-
mutual
spoiled
respect
over
there.
back in the day.
And a
but
good
yeah.
good example of that is Stormzy's interview that he just did yesterday on Hot 97. Well, yesterday from when we're recording this.
Yeah.
He done this interview, and most people, all the kids, I guarantee, all the kids are sitting there. When they asked about Wiley, they're all sitting there expecting him to be like, "Oh,
Fuck his mum.
Wiley's
Yeah,
old,
yeah,
fuck
yeah,
his
yeah.
mum, all this." But what he did was he said, "All right, I don't agree with some of his morals, which is what I attacked in the songs, and everything I've said is on record. But I respect what he even said. I wouldn't exist without him."
Mm.
He properly paid homage.
Yeah.
Where a lot of these kids thought he was gonna just slate him because that's the new thing to do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like 6ix9ine, if he was in that situation, he would have been like, "Yeah, fuck him,
Yeah.
fuck him." Do you know what I mean?
Contest my
And then
gangster.
contest my gangster. But
I let my nuts hang.
yeah, but Stormzy, on the other hand, he took that approach of letting people know that Wiley is still a very, very respected MC.
This is it.
And
Stormzy knows that he still has to earn his place.
Exactly.
He's not just beyond it all now.
Exactly.
Like,
And doing that actually ended up giving the whole of grime clashing and all of that, it kind of brought the light back onto it to say, like...
Just think how many kids Stormzy fans have now Googled the Wiley clashes and seen Wiley Kano from the First Order of the Mites and thought, oh shit, no, like these guys were actually on it when they were Stormzy's age, like, sort of
Wiley
thing.
Devlin.
Yeah.
They made a track recently, didn't they? Or not too long
Yeah,
ago.
they did. Yeah, do you remember that?
Yeah, they
What
made
was the
back up,
Devlin
didn't they?
diss? And he was like, used to say 36, 36, nowadays
30,
you're about 36,
38,
38, 38, yeah, that's it, yeah.
Can't knock your work rate. What's some of the other beef? Do you remember Getz and Bashy on the rooftop?
Yeah, see, look, like, things like that. Like, Bashy, like, people forget how famous Bashy was back in the day. Like, he was one of our exports. Like, he was acting in America, shit like that. And he's still got time to fucking clash in that because that was the scene. You had to earn your place. You couldn't dodge that part and also sell your records on behalf of grime. And I do kind of, as much as I'm not questioning whether Stormzy realises this or not now, because I know that he has. Like, he ain't an idiot in it. Like, you can hate him all you want. Like, the guy's not a fool in it. No one can say that about him.
Yeah.
But Wiley has poked him into sort of saying, like, yeah, look, if you call what you make grime, then actual grime will die. That's how hip hop died, because they didn't separate the new from the old. Like, and so it was like, well, hip hop's dead because nobody makes it. And sort of like, grime's dead because everyone thinks that Giggs and Stormzy's grime. People think that...
No, but is hip-hop
like,
even dead? Because you look at even...
It's not, but grime ain't dead, because you got novelist, Mez, etc.
Well, you even got... Well, like... Even like...
And there's more than novelist and
like,
Mez. I know I keep saying
like,
that.
obviously the beats have changed in that, but is hip-hop boom bap? No, boom bap's boom bap.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
hip-hop is hip-hop. Like, I'd look at someone like even like obviously you can have the argument whether it's rap or hip hop, but people like Nipsey, people like Roddy Ricch, like these people who actually, when they jump on a track, there's substance in it. They come through with like just
you stop and listen. You don't just bop to the beat. You every now and then you are like, oh but because we got these new age, the beats are so hard now, innit? They're so good now. They're almost their own fucking, like, back in the day. You couldn't just put a hip hop instrumental on and everyone just be like. But now you could just put like some trap on and that, and you don't even
on the way here, we was just playing
Dre the Ski Mask.
Yeah, just got beats playing.
Yeah,
and it's just that is substantial for a song, a whole song. Yeah. Whereas you couldn't, like, if you put a boom bap beat on, someone better be freestyling.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm switching that shit off. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
But the thing is like,
unless it's Jay Dilla.
Yeah,
like
new Jarbies and all that shit.
That kind of
that
stuff.
new age boom bap.
But that's the lo-fi meditating studying music.
Studying radio.
Everyone knows the
lo-fi chill music.
Everyone knows that thumbnail. Everyone knows that thumbnail.
I swear it's literally got a guy at the desk as well.
It is. It's the anime kid.
It's the anime kid.
Everyone knows that thumbnail. Everyone knows that.
But no, I think.
But let's pull it back to the whole situation. So obviously, because I feel like
we're not talking about Dot enough. He fucking started it, innit? He poked the bellies.
And the work rate he's coming at, like, have you been listening to the music?
Mate. Some of the best UK tunes I've heard for a while, and they're coming out every day.
He's released like 2-3 songs that aren't disses. That fucking I can't off the top.
And they're all different. They're all different vibes. They're unfortunately, and Dot understands this. People aren't going to remember the names of the tunes until the album comes out at the end of the year.
Yeah.
But mate, that's going to be a bit of a madness when that actually comes out with over 365 songs.
It's 366. This year's a leap year. He had to change it.
Oh, fair.
If you look at the thumbnail, it says 366.
He's been doing that for time though. Like, just been producing. I can't remember, like.
Well, that's it. Just because he's not been spitting, the work rate's probably still been there the whole 10 years that he's not been about or whatever.
He's one of them ones that I've been following, just like throughout, since like talking about like old days, like grime, and just followed him. Like, what was that tune that he did? Soul something. You had it. What was it? That Soul something or other.
Soul Brother?
Yeah, the instrument was Soul Brother, wasn't it? Yeah, so like, do you know what I mean? He's been dropping these beats that just bang.
Yeah.
Like, it's just been just so like underground, like.
Yeah. But he's obviously been doing like pop stuff as well and that. Like I'm thinking, is it in the video for that J1 dish? You see a couple plaques and that, and it's a couple chart artists, isn't it?
Oh, he's got
like serious credits.
Yeah, he's got some serious credits stuff.
I've been following him on Snapchat since he first got Snapchat back. Can't remember when it was. It was like XXF or something like this.
Producer Zeph.
Yeah, but I can't remember what his Snapchat was. It was something X. I think it was XX something. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because XX used to be the logo for that Minami thing that he did, didn't he?
I'm sure. I don't
know. Oh no, I think it's Zeph Ellis, but he puts like a X.
Oh yeah,
he does.
He does some stuff like that. Yeah. But do you know who else needs a shine in on this whole
Cadell, mate, he wrote the best
song in this whole thing. Cadell.
Yeah, maybe 100%. We should provide a bit of context first. So obviously, Dot and J1 go at each other. J1 doesn't go at Dot Rotten at all, I don't think. Does he? He just sends a video back of him spitting over his beat with the tune. It's a bit weird.
They ignored it. Yeah. They ignored J1 completely.
But he got paid, didn't he, Dot Rotten?
Oh yeah, he got paid, yeah.
Got paid. The beat is been tweaked, so it's not Dot's beat anymore, is it? They just paid him anyway. And they're going to use Still Bangle's version of it. Is that what happened?
No, I don't know. I think that...
Because people are comparing the two beats sound different.
I think it's like
J1's.
Switch up a couple.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like a producer would notice the difference, but on the radio you ain't gonna notice. Yeah, so you're still a fucking fraud, Bangles.
Because it starts episode 1, we're just starting beef. Like, everyone's just gonna be pissed.
We've been nice about Stormzy. He's the only important one nowadays, isn't it? So,
but yeah, so obviously when Stormzy blew up, he blew up off Shut Up, didn't he? Mm-hmm. And Shut Up was a send for Cadell. And that was in and amongst their whole thing. And then since then, obviously, Stormzy's he's out of here now. But Cadell, he's quieting down a lot. And so a lot of people don't know that when Stormzy's in these tracks saying Wiley's brother, it's Cadell.
Yeah.
And now Cadell has come through everyone. Go check it out. Cadell World War 3.
Yeah, because if you've listened to Disappointed, Cadell talks about some of the claims in that as well, and it's important that you hear both. With beef, you've always got, well, music beef anyway, you got to hear both sides, because a lot of people do just make stuff up, because if it doesn't get addressed, it's now true, sort of thing. And that does happen.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time nowadays.
It's mad that, like, music like that has got its own little politics going on.
But that's
like you were saying about the channels, and the channels have got their own politics. It's almost like newspapers where they'll favour one side and chat shit about the other side, or like you know, not properly.
They'll stick with where they think they can make a bit more money, perhaps. And
Well, yeah. I mean, do you think something has to? I don't know. Maybe we need that. We need that Charlemagne, maybe, or we need that.
We need it.
We need that world star hip hop where it's impartial.
You know what's bad though is that, like, when you think about grime, like all the clashes that happened, like we said about the rooftop and that.
Yeah, chatting to the mic a bit more, bro.
Yeah, back when it was like all those like rooftop clash, like.
But that's when it was all the pirate radio. You had like Commander B, the Grime Report, and like with Commander B, that's where a lot of the old clashes happened and shit. And like that's when MCs would go up to the radio station, pay their subs and that, and get on. And and so like Commander B one night would have like I don't know, say Wiley for example. Wiley would go on there, he'd send for a few people. The next day, the other people would come up to the radio and send back, and so that's how it it was a lot more natural, and that's how it like. I'm in a position of power now. No, but like that's how it happens so much more naturally. But now where all these artists are signed by labels, they've got careers to protect rather than reputations to protect.
Yeah.
And although I do feel like that's what came back a little bit, was the fact that Stormzy replied because he had to protect his reputation, and that's what we need a little bit more. We need that sort of like tribalism of like, say, a lot of the other grime artists, JME, Skepta, AJ Tracy, all the other Boy Better Know members that were called out, they've all sat there and thought, oh, well, I sort of need to protect my career a little bit. Do you know what I mean? It ain't worth it anymore. Things have changed. And that's why it will die off. Because they're not letting things sort of happen naturally, and they're like you would naturally react to someone. If someone called you out, you'd answer. You wouldn't let someone persuade you that like it's not worth it and it sort of thing. And we need to get back to that almost boyish attitude. Yeah. And I feel like this did bring it back a little bit. If Stormzy didn't reply on a Grime beat, I mean, I know the first one was a bit like drilly or whatever, but it was still like 140-ish. It was still pretty. It was pretty grimy, innit? Like the flow was more grimy than when he raps and shit. And I thought that's.
So was this Stormzy's track?
Yeah, I was saying how like he was saying back in the day, how did it all happen and that, and I was saying because it happened so much more naturally, and I feel like Wiley did wake that up. Like I said, where Stormzy realised he had to earn his place in Grime again.
The Force Awakens.
Yeah, well that's it. If it stops now and only Doc Rotten carries on, it'll all just go back to shit.
No, but will it? Because I feel personally like
but if the next Stormzy song isn't Grime, everyone will forget about it.
No, but okay, yeah, but you gotta remember that Dot's the one calling out all these other artists.
Yeah, and they ain't on it.
JK's come back. He's coming for AJ Tracy and Big Zoo soon. He said something about it on Insta.
Oh yeah, because I see Big Zoo writing statuses and that. But that's good.
Big Zoo will jump on it.
Yeah, 100%.
AJ
one, because he's got a fucking brand to protect in it. All this fucking I fucking love you, AJ Tracy, man. Like I fucking used to listen to you every time I knew he was on the radio. I'd sit and listen to it, and that little mini era of sort of Cadell, Nov, everyone like that coming back, that really sparked Grime back.
It was like 2016, innit?
Yeah, 2014 to 16. 2014, like the beats started to come back, and there was like this weird sort of like neo grime movement.
Yeah, what was that mixtape? History of Grime.
I don't know. What's that?
It?
Who's that?
There's like a mixtape.
Is that the yellow one with the red writing? And
no,
it's got all them
like a compilation.
The one with all the Castro tracks on it.
Oh no, Grime Historian. That's an old channel.
Yeah,
yeah. Castro Saint. He was sick back then.
Fam,
he
speaking
was
of
sick
Castro,
back then.
Where's he gone?
Yeah, I know.
Where's he gone, bro? He came out with this sick album, and then he comes out with a okay album. Like, okay, it was artistic. He had the whole what was it? Taxi driver music or something. It was something like that.
Yeah, mate. Those couple, the Pat earrings.
Yeah,
that tune, that banged. I love that.
Yeah, but he came out with that, and then just disappeared.
So apparently, I've heard that he's like, as he is a bit of a creative genius. Like, I think he's experimented with a few things and that, and I think he is suffering from what I've heard, which is just complete conjecture in it. Like, I don't know that this person knows, but I've heard that he's suffering from a bit of like creative genius syndrome in it.
Oh yeah, where you sort of get that writer's block, and
he's probably gone on site. He's probably making some like punk rock privately or some shit. Like you know what it is though, innit? Like people that are that high functioning.
It's like what Eminem became.
Plan B done it as well.
Yeah.
Kid Cudi.
Yeah. Big up Kid Cudi. Yeah, but no, I think I hope that, like you say, if JK I hope everyone right now is getting ready for the war. I hope this wasn't the war. Between Stormzy and Wiley, I'm happy for that to end. But I hope that it now...
But it was so big. Stormzy and Wiley was so big because it is the old big guy, like minus Dizzy and that, but and Kano and Lethal Biz and all them. But it's the old big guy versus the new big guy.
But has Stormzy earned the right to be the new big guy of Grime? Like, he's never even made a Grime album. He's never made a mixtape where more of the songs are Grime.
But this is where you need to listen to his interview, because that's where he says he never put himself to be. He never said, I'm the Grime guy.
No.
Everyone just put...
Mate, the first tune I ever heard of his was a drill tune, innit?
It's the mainstream media. It's the mainstream media who have gone, oh, Stormzy, he's one of them. He's one of them London music, urban music.
Yeah, they do you know what? I know they call gigs Grime and that, but I understand where if someone didn't know about it, they would, because it's gritty. But they probably even call ads and that like Grime.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what
100%.
I mean? Like,
I think it's the first time they probably put Grime in the newspaper for Stormzy.
Oh, yeah. Did you see the Sky News thing? No. Where they said Wiley threatens Stormzy's mum over diss track, and Peter Andre tweeted them both like, guys, you're both fantastic artists. You just need to like lay off the family stuff and that.
I feel like we need Lord of the Mics with Peter Andre.
Yeah, they need to commission. They need to commission that. Just have him on the stairs in the basement reacting to all the bars, like
guys.
Plus a little mysterious
you
girl.
can't say that.
But I mean,
Let me do some backing vocals.
Come on, move your body.
Come on, move your
come
body.
on, move your body. Your mum is a skit. Come on, move your body.
Oh, mysterious.
But
No.
yeah, man. But I mean, I look at this whole situation, and I think a lot of people get it confused, and they think that Wiley's actually really mad when he's actually not.
Mate, he's the most
chilling.
bantery guy.
He's
People well
trolling.
mistake his rants for like he's only saying that he's ranting because like it's his thing. Like we'd rant to each other about Arsenal and Liverpool because that's probably what we've had in the last for the longest, if you think about it, sort of thing. Consistently obsessed with that team and that. But like, and so like it's his baby, innit? Like, so when shit happens, he feels like, and I feel like he has the right to air it out on Snapchat and shit.
He's the
like,
right to be a gatekeeper.
Yeah, like Stormzy and that aren't gonna chat about it because it's not their genre. They're making stuff with it, if you know what I mean, and out of it. So they're not gonna sit there and be like, oh, these new kids are pissing me off and shit, because they're just not that at that point in their career. Wiley is like sort of. I'm trying to think of like an American rap version, but like, do you know what I mean? He's at that, like you say, he's a gatekeeper, and we
like
need
Dr. Dre.
him to be. Yeah,
He's
that's
like
it.
Dr. Dre
That's
taking it to maybe not necessarily Dre. You could NWA as a whole.
Yeah.
But bringing in gangster rap.
Yeah. So
And now
they can commentate.
They
on
can
gangster.
commentate.
Yeah.
But with Wiley, it's a little bit even more like.
It's his
Grime
thing.
is his baby.
Yeah.
Grime is his
That's the
baby.
thing.
What do you call it, like?
He may not necessarily be the king of grime, because he even said Dot Rotten was the king of grime, which I think fair enough.
I think
he is.
he's
I think
definitely
the king.
earning that title.
He's the king of grime.
Yeah.
But if we talk about the godfather of grime, he's the godfather. He
Yeah.
has to be the god.
That
Like no one else
can't
is.
change.
That can't
Yeah.
change.
Yeah.
That can't
There
change.
is an original.
Dot will
There's
always,
an OG.
Dot will no matter how many tunes Dot puts out, no matter how many mad beats Dot does, he will never be the godfather. Dizzy will never. He was the golden boy.
Yeah.
He will never be the godfather. Even if he comes back and does a fucking Boy in a Corner 2 and it's amazing.
Mate, that breaks my heart, man. Because like when growing up, like Dizzy and Kano were like my two fucking idols, and Kano still high respect, but he just doesn't. He's just not on that sort of music anymore, and I appreciate that. But he makes a lot of positive shit, and I got a lot of respect for that.
Well, he's very
but
lyrical.
Dizzy turned round and went, I don't owe you nothing. You're all bunch of fucking dickheads to me anyway.
He didn't really bring anyone through, did he?
And I kind of, he had Dirty Stank, but that never really blew up. And he had like D Double signed to that and shit back in the day, but it just never really blew up.
But D Double's not someone who you can put to the masses. D Double is like, if you don't know who D Double is, he might just seem like a bit of a weirdo to
Well,
you.
no, that's
Do you
it.
know what
If
I
you
mean?
don't already know about even like
I love
the mainstream tunes like Street Fighter and shit, if
Yeah.
you haven't heard of them, you probably won't like it.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
everybody's heard it,
But
innit?
and then you'll get all these new fans being like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" But then you watch him go up on Eskimo stage, everyone will go fucking mental.
Yeah.
They'll go mental.
Yeah. No one in any genre in the world, apart from maybe like James Brown, has been able to just go ooh, and everybody just like literally, if you're in the rave and you hear that on a tune, you get a bit goosebumpy. If it was actually him, innit, you'd be like, do you know what I mean? You just know. And like that's the thing, like when you listen like to the old radio sets and that, and I used to listen to it a little bit when I was like at school and shit, like the back end of it when it wasn't like pirate radio, but it like Kiss and Rinse and shit. And like there was that like
I feel that there was like more characters back then as well.
a million
Like
percent. This is why it's
seems like-
important that other people get involved now.
Seems like now there's just like, you know, it's a lot more generic now. But you think back in the day, there was
Stormzy
actual
is a very
characters.
generic rapper. I hate to
But
say
that's-
it because he is special in a
that's
lot of
what-
ways, innit?
that's
But
what
like,
sells
and
though,
that,
do you know what I mean?
that's the thing. If he's the bar,
No, but if you
then
say
Grime
something-
is just going to be very like generic. There's not going to be those sort of like the one-liners, the funny voices. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Jammer and that.
what's his face? That's like, you don't want to bring Arms House. I'll bring Arms House to you. Like, do you know what I mean? And the little like and the General Levy and shit. Because Jungle
Do you know
MCs
what?
and shit, you won't get that. You'll just get the ooh, fuck your mum. No. Do you know what I mean? It's all like
And then
just
everyone's just-
angry young boy.
Everyone's
It's
just
not like
repeating the
it's-
same,
yeah,
the
it's
same
not
drill
confident.
flows.
Yeah. And that because people have seen like Stormzy's probably like the most creative rapper they've ever fucking seen from the UK. Do you know what I mean? Like Young Ed's using auto-tune makes him like the creative genius nowadays. Big him up still, but like people see him as like the one setting the rate and changing shit and stuff, and like all he's done is just copy a couple American rappers, isn't it? Like, and if that's the basis of what Grime's going to be built back on, and it's not going to be built back on Big Zoo, AJ, JK, Mez, Novelist, who, by the way, all have different styles and shit. Like that, just the first names that come to fit, they've all got different styles, their own characters, their own areas and that as well, which helps. Because a lot nowadays, Krypton, Conan, Stormzy and that, they're all from like fucking Croydon and shit. So it's just like, it's literally, it's like when Peckham went big. But imagine if when Peckham was big, that was the only rap coming out. And everybody just did Peckham rap. Do you know what I mean? It would be pretty dead. There wouldn't be these offshoots and shit. And now all the offshoots happened, and everyone's just kind of picked that little like South London drill rap sort of thing. And I feel like if Grime comes back without the new heads,
I think North and West have their own style. I think
they
come through with that bossy, flexy kind of.
West has always been very like
sort
poppy, innit?
Yeah, sort of like Ice City.
It's like Harlem, innit? It's like the Harlem of London.
Yeah, exactly.
It
like
is uptown,
South's a bit.
East End's downtown.
But do you know who I think doesn't get enough light? The part of London that I think deserves probably the most light and probably has the most potential. South East, mate.
Yeah.
South places like Woolwich.
Big up Jesse James.
Big up Jesse.
Big up Jesse
Well,
from
I've got
SE.
a lot of artists, because fam, I'm gonna drop some names right now, and I like everyone who's watching this. Like, I want you to go look at their music because they're sick. Like I know this one guy called Cardo. He's from Peckham, I think. That's more south. But
no, SC15. Big up Penisy as well, innit?
But Steve Drive, amazing artist. The guy is
Stephen
nuts.
Tries.
No, Steve.
I'm joking.
No, this guy Steve Drive. He's got like the guy is fucking. He's so naturally talented.
Yeah.
Like he's so naturally talented.
That's what we need again.
And
we need to start really pushing them sort of
blessed,
people.
He's one of the people that's blessed with a voice.
Yeah.
And it's like it's like you. As soon as you listen to a track and he's on it, you know him in it, and then you go to the comments and everyone's saying, "Oh, that guy's the best. That guy's the best." And it's like he's got one of them voices. But before I forget, let me just shout out a couple names. Like you got like House of Pharaohs.
Yeah.
All their stuff. Their stuff's sick. 808 Inc. Like they're sick. Paul Stefan. Shout out Paul.
Yes.
You know Paul Stefan?
I fucking love Paul
Stefan. Oh, shout out Paul, man.
Sick.
Shout out Paul.
He's sick. Yeah, big up.
I was
I'm
chatting
always
to
on
him
his
the
fucking
other day.
SoundCloud.
Full sound, man. Full sound. Yeah, no,
Is he?
fucking.
He's got a nice swag as well, innit? I like his fucking swag.
We'll try to get him on.
Yeah, 100, man.
But, yeah, no. Who else from Southeast? Like, well, just like, I think they go about 18 or something. Like they've all got. It's like 8 and then teen, like teenagers. Yeah. Fucking like their group that's what Steve Driver's part of. They're quite sick. They've got like a nice sound. But I think but if we talk about specifically House of Pharaohs, I think they're coming through with this Maz. Oh, Young Fume as well. Young Fume as well. These are all, do you know what I'm saying? These are all Southeast rappers.
People forget that Young Fume was like the first to really pump that fucking like the sick auto-tune
like,
shit. People
Norths
forget that,
innit?
And he must have been like 16, 17 as well when he first started banging like the auto-tune and that, which is like,
and bro, it's tunes that are coming out now. They're like I know it's just my opinion, but they're some of my favourite.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And House of Pharaohs are now coining their own sound as well. That sort of jumpy, flexy, happy kind of proud to be British vibe and like fam,
but we need that replication in grime.
But it doesn't, because why does it need to be in grime? Grime's its own genre.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. It needs the different voices in grime rather than there just being Wiley and Dot now and no one else is really doing it. Do you know what I mean?
Well, no, because if we're gonna because
there is the guys there.
No, but House of Pharaohs, we shouldn't even talk about grime when we're talking about them because with them they're just London artists.
Yeah.
And then you yourself are falling in the mainstream trap of associating these artists with grime, which we need to stamp out. That's something we need to...
No, I don't mean as in we need people like with that sound, but we need that variance of artists. Because Stormzy's grime sound is shit. Like, I don't like one of Stormzy's grime tunes, innit? All the tunes I like his, I know it's better, I like his gospel-y stuff, like I kind of like that, innit? But his grime shit, if that's, like, JK's sick, yeah? But, like, he ain't gonna fucking bring grime back, innit? Like, but we've got those guys there. Do you know what I mean? The novelists, the mezzes, the
novelists.
Yeah, we've got them there, but... And again, like, it's probably even comes back to this point, is that... Is everyone pushing House of Pharaohs? Is everyone pushing Paul Stefan?
House of Pharaohs, they're not getting a look in.
Yeah. It's all the basic generic people that just get all the fucking pushing, and all the actual talent just sort of comes and goes.
Well, this is where it ties sort of back into the whole GRM thing and everything, and how much they run it. Because if you haven't got a mate up there, like, do you know what I mean? You haven't got a good link to GRM, and I'm talking like you got to have a link in a pretty good place in their company. Boy, I think now it's $350
just for an upload.
Just for a fucking upload, they're charging $350. But
cool,
these artists, they'll come to you and they can't even. Some of them, most of them, can barely afford $350 for the video itself.
Yeah.
Let alone a fucking upload. Fair. Alright, cool.
They're white man in the thing. They're white man in the thing.
But on the other side of it, fair enough. Charge more, you filter out the shit more. The people who really want it are going to do it. But the problem is,
if they did that from the start, then nothing would have started.
Posty's a numbers guy. And so you might look at one of the, like a House of Pharaohs, like a Paul Stefan, and you see, alright, cool, you bought in
if it don't blow up.
You bought in big numbers before, that's all well and good, but what did your last track do? Your last track might only have done 5k, 10k, but let's bear in mind that's on their own channels.
Yeah.
That's on their own channels.
They haven't had that exposure yet.
Yeah. And then, with GRM freezing these, not necessarily freezing these people out, but not giving them the shine they deserve, or not that they deserve, but just not giving them shine anyway. Now it creates this culture of there's the GRM lot, and then there's everyone else. And so you look at people like Octavian, like shout out Essie, like you got Octavian, you got like Slow Tie, and then all these other people
to blow up without but not everyone can.
They've shown it's possible. But the problem we have with that now is that there isn't much of a culture around them. No. They're just their own singular entities. Whereas if we had a channel that was more based around that kind of music, do you know what I mean? A bit more, I'd say more artistic kind of style.
It can't just be ascend from a group of youngers to another group of youngers, innit? Like they've got to be actual rappers and shit. They've got to have a plan or whatever, an album. But they can't just This
is where it comes back round, because it's GRM. They're so focused on numbers that I don't really think they have
negativity gets numbers as well. That's the bad thing.
The A&R they probably have there, I guarantee most people wouldn't fuck with their music taste. Or if they do, the people that fuck with their music taste the most are more likely 14, 15-year-olds. Do you know what I mean? Because that's what they're trying to appeal to. They've seen that the money comes in with the kids watching, so that's what they're going to push. They're going to push all these fucking... They're going to push Krypton Konan's new track, and they're going to play that fucking clip of him saying, suck your mother in Portuguese or something. It's not even the right language. Oh, no. Do you know what I mean?
I know. But you can't say anything about them because there are heroes now. They've saved the UK scene by doing fucking mugging a couple youngers off for a remix. Piss take. Like they are not Abracadabra's voice, innit? Like that's Abracadabra, innit? Like he would have blown. That tune would have got big with or without their remix, innit? If it got played,
it wouldn't have got it.
But it wouldn't get the push.
It wouldn't get a push that it got with them, and then
you know what I mean? They're pumping all of this like, oh, if you say drill's bad, then you hate black people. But then all they're playing is the negativity because the positivity don't do numbers. Who's the fucking bad? Who's the bad person? You know what I mean? It ain't fucking us. It's the people with the keys. Like with power comes responsibility, innit? Like you can't just shy away from that responsibility. Well, I mean, people do, but you shouldn't, as a human, be able to shy away from that human responsibility and sort of like, no, I just want to, but I've got 10 extra pound and all of this, like, and everyone just goes, oh, fuck it, fuck all the kids dying, you earned a fucking tenner, well fucking done, mate, dog eat dog and that. Do you know what I mean? It's bollocks. But people people don't stand up to that because they don't want to be seen as like the bummy one. Oh, it's not about money because you haven't got money and all of that, and it's such a bad attitude. Yeah.
Now there's this culture in London.
I know when they talk about the culture, I'm like, no, it weren't what it fucking used to be, bro.
But no one wants to talk about each other because you even get
it's a horrible culture
Chucky,
now.
Yeah, I think you're sick, yeah, but
yeah, big up.
There are some times in the conversation where you're listening to the podcast and you're like, I can tell you're dancing around a subject. Yeah. Like it's so obvious you're dancing around a subject.
But it's hard when you're in London. It's hard to get in at it, isn't it?
Even myself, I've like I'm not too in it, but I feel like sometimes I can't say things because there'll be someone who's not gonna like it. They're not gonna like it, and then next thing I know, I've been blackballed. Yeah. And do you know what the perfect example of that is? Dot fucking Rotten. Yeah. Dot Rotten, mate. He's the perfect example of everything we're saying. Yeah. And I just feel like GRM, okay, do your thing in it. Like I'm like. I mean,
what they did for the scene to begin with, like I used to check Grime Daily every single day of my fucking life when it was Grime Daily before it was GRM as well.
Yeah. But we need to have. I don't know. I just think there's a space for a new channel.
Yeah.
There's so much
space for a new movement entirely.
Yeah.
A channel that comes with, I don't know, maybe some new sort of festivals, maybe some new sort of club nights, maybe, do you know what I mean? Rather than this just like
Lord of the
this one size fits all. It's the culture. You can't disagree with it. Sort of thing. Because that ain't gonna help no one. And to be honest, a bit like fucking economies. You've been told it there. But no, it gets to a point where the money will dry up, but there won't be an actual naturally built scene to back it up. Do you know what I mean?
I don't think the money will dry up purely because you have down to 2-year-olds listening to one of them catchy songs in the same way that we listen to.
It's the hot minute. Trends don't last forever. Hip hop hasn't always been the most popular. Rock used to be the most popular. Jazz used to be the most popular. I think that there's an expiry date on every genre. There's obviously always going to be money in it because we're going to be alive and shit, and we'll support the scene and who we love and shit like that. But I mean, like pop wise, people like Stormzy might be there forever because they're so sort of known now, but there's going to be a point where they're going to be like, oh no, we don't need another Stormzy. Like, we're on to something else now. Yeah. House, drum and basses, but house is garage or something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, bruv, it was
at the moment like drill and rap is the sound. Well, like it's on Radio 1, bruv.
When we turned 18, the only drill that was knocking about was Chief Keef.
It's Chicago,
and everyone
and
like I can't say
Lil
what
Herb,
people in London like back in, because this would have been 2013. You can work out our ages.
Yeah. No, but it was getting played. It was getting played.
In that time, that was all house.
Yeah,
like, house was the big thing.
Yeah,
like deep house when
down to the raves and that. Yeah,
like deep house with all like MK and fucking what's his name, Chris Lorenzo and Hannah Wants.
Yeah.
They was all massive, and then sort of garage made kind of a comeback, and so did D&B, because D&B was big up until about 11, 12, and then it kind of died out a bit.
Then Grime had a year or two.
Yeah, and then Grime had its year or two. And then from that came this now. This industry.
6-7 weren't the first, but they were definitely the ones to make it go. If it weren't for 6-7, I don't think rap would have been, because it's mainstream in America now.
It'd be 150. It'd be 150.
But drill, I think without 6-7, I don't think drill would be as popular.
No, but it was 150 came out with that big song.
Was it there? Yeah, but
5150.
Yeah, but we'd listen to that. But do you think?
No, that was big. That was big.
What, like even like?
Yeah, like everyone in London was listening to that.
Yeah, but London's its own bubble, isn't it? So if
London's its own bubble, but that was.
It doesn't create an economy.
I'm saying that was the first of. I'm not disagreeing with you with the impact that 6-7 had, because they put money into the scene. They put drill from here to here.
Yeah,
but I don't know. From what I've heard anyway, someone's probably going to prove me wrong, but 150. Did it first, kind of.
Yeah. I'm not saying 6-7 were first by any means, innit? Because they weren't. Like at the end of the day.
No, I mean they were.
The rest of them even catty flows and that.
By first, I mean the first to have something big. I can't remember what the song is for the fucking life of me. Like, forgetting everything today, but they were the ones that first came with a big drill tune, and then 6-7 were closely followed behind with
Backed by GRM.
Yeah, exactly.
151.
How much of an impact do you think that like Americans taking an interest in grime has had on the scene?
1,000,000%, because drill is an American genre. They can buy into it so much more than grime, because they're like, oh, they're copying us, this is sick. Like when I hear like some fucking like a Japanese guy spit on grime and that, I'm like, yeah, big up, like he's even copying the slang and that, like. And so when Americans hear us like 4-door truck, they're probably thinking like, oh yeah, that's what Chief Keef and shit started, like. So it's yeah.
One of my favourite things about this whole beef has been the reaction videos. The Americans reacting to the videos.
Mate, that has been priceless. That has been absolutely priceless. If we remember, we definitely have to put a couple of links to them.
Yeah, what's the one?
No, it's
Terminal 4.
Terminal 4
yeah,
is like where you
get on the plane.
Terminal 4? Like, if you go to like, let me go back to the start. If you go to like to an airport,
I've seen that something.
Like, the best part of it, the best part, Terminal 4 don't go to Cyprus. So he's deep in the bar, but he doesn't deep.
I'm gonna say something about this.
How's that a diss?
I'm gonna say something about this.
How's making your mum live in Cyprus a diss compared to living in fucking Croydon? Sorry, Stormzy's mum, but Croydon's a fucking shithole, bruv, compared to Cyprus.
For real.
Come on, that ain't a diss. That ain't a diss.
And I've got to say this, yeah. I see a lot of kids now on socials and that commenting like Cyprus is a third world country. It's fucking beautiful.
It's
fucking beautiful.
I would love to live
that's
there.
That's my country.
Why do you think Wiley goes there all the time? Because this is holiday home.
Yeah,
like,
trust me.
Trust
me.
The one.
Like fucking, is it Iron Apple Cyprus? Or is it?
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's got
Greek side only though.
Yeah.
Wait, have you seen that?
Yeah, let's start some real historical.
Let's fill that up.
Yeah.
Seen the,
I'm not gonna say nothing. Fuck the Kurds, no, I'm joking.
That reaction video when.
Yeah. Please.
The thing about these Americans that react to these videos though is like they're just not understanding the slang or what it means.
No.
Like what was the thing that he said about send shots or bricks for the window?
Yeah, when he was like, you sent your mum to Cyprus because you couldn't keep her safe because somebody sent a shot through your window.
And he's like, whoa.
So he shot Wiley's mum?
And she moved to Cyrus?
Cyrus, yeah, that was the one.
So he moved to Cyrus? This is war. It's like, he doesn't know what Cyrus means. But it's like an old army American name, isn't it? So they just think, Cyrus? War?
Cyrus? But it's good. It's good.
Oh, it's healthy.
Yeah, but
it's good that they're taking an interest though.
Oh,
no, but the thing is, you say that, but
their
look at
interest in
artists.
drill's gone to an interest in grime, which is good.
Yeah, but you look at that, and then you look at artists like I'm talking back when JME like 2011 with Trey Mission. Do you remember Trey Mission?
Yeah.
This was when Westwood was still a thing.
Yeah, Steve's gang, innit? Trey Mission.
Murky Ace. Cadell, I think.
Yeah, Cadell was in it.
No, it was they were called.
Cadell was
Tizzy
feature. Tizzy Gang, not Steez. Steez is their fucking tune that I always listen to.
No.
Yeah.
But that was, do you know what? It's looking back at grime like now, and looking at all of the different stages that we've had. So you remember like you had like Chipmunk, Oopsie Daisy. You remember Ice Kid?
The Tinchy Stride, the Tiny Temper, Chipmunk, make one grime tune, then go pop.
Yeah. That era of music made me fucking hate.
That's what Wiley hates, because people label Wiley as that, but Wiley will make 30 grime tracks in a year and then drop his chart tune. If you know what I mean, but his grime tunes just don't get that much exposure anymore. People, I mean, you could go through his channel and even I would see tunes that I've never heard before. I guarantee they're grime, guarantee they're produced by a grime producer. And that's what pisses Wiley off, I think, is that he gets put in that bracket with everyone else that's ever made a pop song. But it's like, no, I'm grime. I'll just make a bit of money once a year, innit?
Yeah.
Tinchy Strider and all of that, as much, I mean, Rough Squad. Fucking, I used to love Rough Squad when I was younger. But Tinchy Strider, bruv, like, do you know what I mean?
What was that?
That's selling out.
But you look at, like, I don't know, the popularity of it. Like, do you ever think of, like, if you were to look at Star in the Hood back in the day? You remember them? Everyone wanted the T-shirt, Star in the Hood.
But that's
t-shirt.
it. We don't have that like movement, do we? With it,
you got like Trap Star and stuff now.
Yeah, but that's way and beyond UK rap, innit? Like that's fashion in general.
I just think like I wonder what these artists would be like if they were to blow up now. Do you know what I mean? What if like Chipmunk's peak was now? Would they blow?
Yeah, because the music they'd be making, the pop music, wouldn't be so poppy because rap's popular now. Just in general, people listen to Drake, people listen to Kanye, etc. Like, so
yeah, would they have come up making
would Grime
something
have
a
had
bit
to
different?
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, do you know what Grime needs now? It needs an epic Lord of the Mics. It needs
that's it. It needs
all
people that make grime to separate themselves from rap and do their own thing, so that we can have like separate scenes, because everyone else is getting all of the fucking juice.
Alright, so if let's hypothetically Lord of the Mics this weekend.
Yeah.
Let's play 10.
New versus old
10,
thing, or is that just trying too hard? Ain't gonna happen.
Let's not even worry about who's versing who, but who would you want to see? Let's say there's 10 spots there.
Yeah.
Because 10 is probably a bit hard to think of in a spot, but it's a decent number, isn't it?
Yeah.
So who
but
who would be your 10?
Yeah, but you got to think, like, you see, back in the day when a grime artist came up, it was like a blood sport. Do you know what I mean? Grime was like, it grew from that whole dancehall culture of clashing. That's where we get the word from.
It's
do you know what I
British
mean?
Jamaican Caribbean culture.
Do you know what I mean? This is like my dad going to raves back in the day.
Yeah.
Or they used to call it a blues and that as well.
Yeah.
But you'd have, like you say, sound system. You'd have this system versus this one, and that's where this has grown from. Like this is where the root of that whole clashing.
If you lose that, you lose it. You can't lose the force.
Radigan and
Star Wars.
And that's what
Radigan Barry G back in the day. That was one big, like, I think it was like 4 days on the radio in Jamaica.
Yeah.
Like, over the radio, Dad said you have to tune into it to listen to it and that.
But that's also it. Is the commitment means that you're more obsessed. Like back in the day where I felt like, do you know what I mean? I knew more about it than other people. That made me more inclined to buy the shit. Because it was my thing, innit? Do you know what I mean?
It's mad how...
Do you know what I mean? It's like, no, like, this is my favourite artist, so I'm going to buy his t-shirt. Like,
but the other thing is, like...
nowadays, I'm not really that bothered about none of them.
Yeah.
You think about as well how, like, just going back to that whole, like, how you'd hear about the beef. So I remember getting Bluetoothed songs.
Yeah.
By Dom. Me and Dom used to love it, like the Bluetooth thing.
You wouldn't all see it at the same time.
No,
everyone would get it gradually. Yeah,
and Bluetoothed, and you'd see raw.
But now everyone's waiting for the subscription notification.
Yeah.
That's it. It's changed.
Yeah.
Taking it
you
a
don't
step
have
back.
to commit. You don't have to take time out of your day and that.
No, you're told what to watch.
Yeah.
You're told what to watch now.
My dad was saying, like, back in the day, they'd wait for little cassettes to come over from Jamaica.
Yeah.
People that have been recording the radio on cassettes.
Mate, back in the day, all of my older cousins and that, they'd all fucking swap cassettes and shit, where one of them was listening to the radio that night and it was like Fabio and Groove Rider, and so they recorded that, and then they'd like swap it for like a Heartless Crew one that was on another radio session and shit like that, and they'd have like old hip hop ones that were like recorded and shit like that for when they came over and did like a freestyle and shit, and like, do you know what I mean? That makes it so much more.
And I feel like, do you know what was
thing?
Do you know what was mad like back then was where you could have an artist that would blow, and their distribution channel was purely through Bluetooth. Like, you'd have that one sick kid that would make a tune, like local, and then that would go mad through Bluetooth.
LimeWire and all that.
Yeah, and everyone would have it on their phone, innit, no matter what.
Yeah.
I miss those days so much.
Grime needs that injection of fire. So
to go back to the Lord of the Mics.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. If we had these 10 artists, who are them 10 artists that are gonna bring that back?
Yeah, but saying a good point you saying are going to, because I would say Kano, but he wouldn't do it.
No, he wouldn't.
But he's way beyond. Skepta wouldn't do it. Jamie wouldn't do it.
I think Skepta could come back. I think Skepta.
Do you think he would?
I think he could step it. Jamie, no, he's too much. He's too much of the nice guy now, innit? But I reckon Skepta.
I'd love to see.
I think Skepta, because obviously Skepta's gone off and he's gone as. Oh, camera died.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say. So it's like saying about who could come in and be like the 10 artists nowadays. Like, the thing I was saying about back in the day is that when an artist sort of came into the scene, they would have to, prove themselves. Yeah, and it was that blood sport back in the day. It was that sort of, you'd clash. Look at Kano. I still remember it in my head. I can still see it in my head. You got Kano at the bottom of the stairs, Wiley behind him, and it's like they're clashing on the stairs. They're that close, clashing. That was like what, Lord of the Mics 1, I think.
That was Lord of the Mics 1. I'm pretty
and
sure that
was 1. Do you remember the one Devilman and Skepta in the underground?
In the dungeon.
But Yeah, the thing that if you look at artists nowadays, because there isn't that sort of, well, obviously you've got like clash, you've got sending for people. That's different from clashing.
There is grime. There is still little bits of it. Like say, surprisingly enough, AJ Tracy actually come up through doing that. Still, Novelist and Cadell.
But that's what I mean, though.
Like, who's the boss?
If we were going to name,
end of it. That was the last we.
And if
that,
we
that was the start of their era.
If we're going to name 10 artists,
that was like 2014.
No, but I feel like that was when grime had its second death. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
After
I know
that,
what you mean.
After that was when it went away.
You got to think
again.
like Sir Spyro was only doing like rinses and shit like a couple of years ago, and like there's like people like Ten Dixon and Tommy Butler and that big guy. I didn't just say that 'cause he's got the same surname as me and he's actually sick. Essex kid, no, he's sick. And they all still clash in that. So like, it could come back.
But I mean, if we're gonna say 10 big artists,
but that's it. Yeah, would it be those artists?
So
or
when
would
you
it
say
be
about grime now,
ones no one knows
you're
about?
talking about artists that can make grime as a genre. But how many of them could actually clash and even freestyle?
I'm saying,
do you know what I mean? How many of them can go at it like that?
I'm saying an artist who's lyrically ready for war. An artist who, even though they make this, and
I'd love to see Novelist and Mez. I'd love to see Novelist, Mez, Cadell, like the obvious youngsters, because they've never had that opportunity to really do a Lord of the Mics.
Yeah.
But I would love to see a young versus old.
I think that can happen,
like
man.
Wiley versus Cadell or something like that. I can imagine that.
Wiley versus Cadell, Jesus Christ,
like an old Birmingham head against JK and shit like that. Like it could be like you fighting for the throne of your area again or something like that. DWE could be like, could do the Newham one. Well, like Newham's a Boris, that's a bit harsh. That covers E3 and everywhere, doesn't it? But, do you know what I mean? You could have like, do you know what I mean? The like battle for E3, the battle for
Devilman
E6
versus JK or something. Like.
Yeah, something like that, innit? Where even if it's like, even if they aren't angry with each other, the young versus old could maybe create enough of a natural friction for them to be like, oh fuck it, I'm gonna go for him. Fuck it, old guy. Fuck it, young boy. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't think, like you say, I don't think they're ready for just like back in the day, like you say, like they just get called out on the radio, and whether they wanted it or not. They'd have to fucking reply, otherwise no one would fucking. You'd be like, no, you're a pussy, innit? You ain't on this thing.
You'd have bars ready for it.
And I think Gets has got.
Gets would fucking.
Yeah, I feel like he's trying to be above that now and do positive shit and that, and I respect that, just like Kano. But I feel like Kano would laugh it off, and I feel like Gets has still got that little bit of a.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
He's got that fire in him.
He could be like, fuck it, throw it all to the fucking wind. I'm going into
let's put down 10 artists then. So who? Go on,
bring who we like to see.
I reckon I'd like to see Gets as part of it.
I'd love to see Gets.
Gets would have to be part of it.
Wiley versus Stormzy in a clash.
Wiley and Stormzy.
Imagine them actually clashing.
I was saying this to someone the other day.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Sending is different.
This is how this beef. This is how this beef can truly get finished with.
They can be
like obviously it's probably finished with now. Like everyone's fucking done with it.
Realistically.
But if we're gonna if we're really gonna stay true to what grime is and how grime comes about, we need a fucking clash, boys. Yeah. Wiley, Stormzy, fucking sort it out. Jammer, sort it out.
Yeah,
we need a fucking clash.
Yes.
And I think Wiley Gets Stormzy. Who else? Mez.
Yeah, Mez
Novelist. They got to be in there. Do I reckon? Let's put Skepta in there as well because he's legendary now.
Yeah, I'd hope he'd be involved.
Do you know who I think? Do you know who I think is hard in a clash? Devlin.
Yes.
Devlin's just got that. Like, I was listening
you need to have a white boy battle. You can't. Do you know what I mean? You have to have the token white boy.
But then is that just reviving old careers for the sake of grime?
No, but you're saying about old versus new.
Because Devlin's he's got a good clashing ability.
Yeah.
Because he came up on the radio.
Yeah, that's
what
I'm saying.
I don't know. I guess I'm seeing it in terms of like,
could it blow?
But not whether could it blow, but who actually has a bit of a leg to stand on nowadays. Do you know what I mean? Because Cadell actually has a bit of. So there's still
something to chew on.
There's still something there with Stormzy. Do you know what I mean? And there's like.
Always been a bit of a rivalry between him and Wiley almost. Like they haven't really supported each other, have they? Like,
yeah, for sure. Do you know who I think? I think could do fucking well in this Lord of the Mics. I reckon Slow Tie. I reckon
Yeah.
he. I reckon,
do you know what?
I
You
reckon
could
he'd
do that. You
something.
could do like an a cappella round or something
Nah,
like that.
put him on a beat, fam.
Yeah, but does he
Put
spit
him on a
grime?
beat. He's done Grime.
I don't
What's that
know
shit?
yet,
Have you not seen that one with? It's got like red and blue lighting. Oh, it's so hard.
No,
It's called
I'll really rate
it's
Slow Tie,
called
but
like.
a proper
I
falling
think it's
off
called
him.
Round and Round or Round and Around or some shit, something like that. Look it
Yeah,
up.
no,
bro.
but
Look
I
it
know
up,
what
it's
you mean, innit? He's got
hard.
that personality
It's
where
hard.
even if he didn't hate the guy, he'd understand that
He
it's part
can-
of the sport, innit?
He
And
can
he'd
come
turn
with
up.
that fire.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
someone
yeah.
that can come with that fire, and that's what I'm saying. Devlin, I feel like
Do you reckon he's
where
past
he's,
that?
I feel like where he's at mentally, he's probably in that kind of Kano space now. He's
Yeah.
not. He's not in that.
Yeah.
He's not in that
He's
space
earned
of.
the right to go and do positive shit, innit?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
He has.
He's already done the clashes. He's already fucking come up against Wiley. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like he's already done all that, and now like I'm not saying I don't want his career to ever hit peaks again, but he's not really relevant no more. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
No,
what was the last tune he released?
Not too long ago, actually, but
Fair.
maybe that
I mean, I
proves
don't know.
Maybe
I
that
don't
proves
know.
the point.
Yeah, maybe
even
that
more,
proves the
innit?
point.
Like, yeah.
Exactly. But I mean, yeah,
Sorry,
I think.
I'm so sorry, Debs. But
Shout out Devlin,
it's
shout
mate,
out
it's
Devlin.
life though, innit?
And it's the thing. All these, and I want to say this as well.
Like, I'd love
to-
Sculpture and shit like that, but that actually Sculpture.
Scorcher's an actor.
No, but
now.
yeah, but
Nah, he makes
bro,
bangers. He makes bangers.
bro,
still.
do you know
He makes
Wretch
bangers.
32 banged his missus when he was inside, and he come out last year and that. So the Wretch 32 used to spit grime, innit? So maybe that could be a fucking.
Nah, but
clash.
Wretch is in that positive space
Yeah, again,
as well, where
again,
he can't,
yeah,
he
yeah,
can't
yeah.
clash, he can't jump in his clashes.
He couldn't do that and let his kids watch it. Do you know what I mean? That
exactly.
sort of thing.
He's coming out with all these positive sort of.
And we
more
do need
soul-y
that. We
tracks.
can't take them away from doing that
Nah,
job,
keep
innit?
him doing
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Keep him doing that
Yeah.
because he's doing
Lethal
such a good
Bizzled,
job.
nah.
Fuck him.
He's corny, bruv.
He's
Like,
so-
big
Deary tried
up
to-
the business shit and that. Like, fair enough. He kind of invented making creative money out of it,
Yeah.
grime. But still, yeah.
He wants to make a fucking new POW. He said
Oh,
the
really?
other he said the other day, who's ready for the new POW, and everyone was like, yeah, you can keep it, man.
Yeah, PAL 2011 just didn't do what the original PAL did, innit?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I just want to say as well to the internet, to the masses watching, whoever's watching this, nothing we say about any of these artists is anything personal. It's all.
Oh,
It's
these
all.
are
we're
sold
all-
out.
not
Oh,
the views of
every
Sky
single
Sports.
person
It's
we've
all-
mentioned tonight, bar Stormzy, I've fucking idolised. Like,
But it's all. But this is. But I think one thing we need to get out here is the opinions and conversations that we're trying to put out there right now is the conversations of just general fans.
yeah, we shouldn't be
And
scared
like,
to
we shouldn't
fucking
be
chat about
look
what we
at,
put
look at
our
Uncle
money
Rafool
into,
when
innit? Like,
when Uncle Rafool when it said something about Dave.
Oh,
Dave starts
yeah, but
crying.
bro,
Like
fuck
big. I
that.
like Dave in it, but why is he crying about that?
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, why are you crying about
I'm not
that?
the biggest
Let
fan of
Uncle
him.
Rafool say what he's gonna say. He's a critic,
Yeah.
bruv. You're gonna get critics.
That
Like, it's-
as soon as I saw that, I was just like, pfft.
yeah,
I mean,
I lost a bit of respect.
I don't
for
even
him,
think
so
you're
I
that
get
good,
mad about
brother.
that.
Now I just think you're a bit of like, if I don't think your music's that good, like Stormzy, I don't like his music, but I fucking love Stormzy. Like, I
Yeah.
love the guy.
Yeah.
If I didn't like the guy, I wouldn't be no fan at all, innit? And I'm
trust.
kind of in that place with Dave where I don't really like his music. I feel like he's very lucky that he gets the features he does because they're always the best part of the tune.
Yeah.
And he's a very good rapper in it, but it's just I just haven't connected with
Well, I
it
mean,
yet.
the album
maybe
was
that's
sick.
because everyone told me he was so good.
Did you
and I
listen
was
to
a
the
bit
album?
like, yeah,
What do you think?
it's good.
There's
But
some
ag-
good tracks on it.
Yeah, it's good. And I'm not saying he's shit. Like, he's fucking top level. It's just I've
He's
just
lyrical.
never.
He's lyrical, which is
yeah,
good.
yeah, and
I
you
feel-
know
I
I
feel like
love
he's
that
got-
innit. Like
I
I
feel
love
like he's-
substance, and he's probably one of the only UK artists with any at the moment when it comes to an album, anyway.
Yeah.
But
yeah, for sure.
which
for
is
sure.
a big thing, and I did
Yeah, that's a
respect
big
that
thing,
that he
that's a
wrote it about. Do you know what I mean? From the perspective of his brother and shit like that, and like we need people that can deep things
Yeah.
instead of just treating it all. But like that Uncle Rafool thing, from then I found it very hard to connect with him.
Yeah.
I'll get over that, but when I was just like, bruv, like you can't just sort of say like no. And this is the thing; it sort of buys into this whole like pally thing that like it's all just about money now.
Yeah.
It isn't about opinion, truth, art.
Yeah.
It's just about like, no, I've made this. You must respect me because I've chosen to be a rapper.
Yeah.
And it's like, bruv, do you know what I mean? I fucking rap. Do you know what I mean? It don't. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't
Yeah.
mean that you have to respect me because
Yeah.
I've chosen that. I chose not. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, not going down the wrong path should be celebrated, but what you choose to do on the good path shouldn't be celebrated. It should just be the fact that you're not on the bad path, innit? You can't. Do you know what I mean? If I was like, I demand to be a footballer, otherwise I'm gonna start going out and causing trouble again. Do you know what I mean? People. Do you know what I mean? Arsenal wouldn't sign me. Do you know what I mean? And do you know what I mean? We don't have to sign up to your music if you ain't willing to let opinions be spoken about it. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm a bit iffy with Dave.
Fair enough. Beef with Dave coming soon.
No,
I'm joking.
For me, boy.
I'm joking. But yeah, man, I don't know. Yeah, I think grime just needs its.
Yeah,
it needs that oomph back. It needs that needs that hunger. No one's hungry no more.
No.
People are hungry, but they're hungry to get a number one. No one's hungry to.
People are scared to put their eggs in the grime basket because then if grime goes next year, there'll be a grime MC and no one will like him anymore. And bro, you can just fucking do it. Just jump at it. I think leap of faith.
I think with the internet age, the internet age, all these artists are really concentrating on numbers.
Yeah.
Where now the words are now losing all sense of whatever to the point where all the Stormzy's fans are commenting on Wiley. Oh, you haven't hit this number or whatever.
I can't believe it when people start like comparing the beef down to record sales and shit, and you're just like what are you actually? Do you like pop?
Yeah.
Like would you like it if this was a
Justin
mainstream?
Bieber versus Selena Gomez.
Yeah,
that's not.
And it makes me think like, would they like Stormzy, or do they just like Stormzy because he's the most amicable black guy in the industry, and they're like, well, he doesn't seem like threatening to me, so do you know what I mean? And it's like that. Do you really like grime? Yeah. Would you like it if it wasn't played on Radio 1? Would you support Stormzy?
Well, then it opens the conversation.
Or do you just like him because you've been told he's your man?
Well, it opens the conversation.
The BBC don't feel threatened by him, so he gets pushed by him. Things like that.
It's kind of like, do they treat him like a token? Do they treat him like a token?
Yeah, because they don't back him on all like the political shit he does.
Yeah.
But then they'll back him in things like that, and it's like, well, what are you supporting? Yeah. Like, it's just weird.
I personally feel like a lot of these mainstream people, the ones pushing him, like like the fucking, not necessarily him, but like the Jonathan Ross type characters, the James Corden type characters. Yeah. I feel like they're
like, I'm glad Stormzy's on there. Yeah, but they're not. They don't get it, man. Like they don't.
Yeah, they don't.
And they're just.
And it's sad because. These are the people who are doing the big interviews, but they're not going to sit there and ask about Wicked Skengman 3. They're gonna ask about the new fucking the new Ed Sheeran feature.
Yeah, I heard you hung about with some famous celebrities.
Oh my god! Did you and Ed both do a shot of whiskey?
Him out of the scene and making him like, no, this is the friendly guy that everyone can get along with, and like. But then when he says something about Boris Johnson and that, they're like, la, 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 and it's like, no, like, if you support. No, but if you support him because he has come from the struggle, he has come from the hood and that, then you've also got to back him when he stands up to power and that.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, no, we just want you to be the friendly one that doesn't say naughty things and stuff like that. Like you can't. That ain't what it's come from.
It's good that he hasn't sort of succumbed to that as well. That he's still.
Yeah, that's it. He was given the challenge and he said, "Fuck it, I'll reprove myself."
And in that position,
that's what we need.
That's
why I fucking love him.
In that position, a lot of people would not put their neck on the line like that.
No.
He's probably the only one outside of Wiley. Dot Rotten hasn't had the mainstream success that they have and Dizzy have, but out of like the ones that have had that mainstream success, Stormzy's the only one I reckon that will. Because I never thought he would, because I didn't think none of them would, but he did, and he's really gone against the grain with that, like big time.
Used his platform and that, like what he's got now.
This is what I was saying about the
that as a voice for people that don't have a voice and haven't had a voice in politics.
And that's what we've got to support more than his music, innit?
And that's what I was saying about the Hot 97 thing. The fact that he went on there and instead of being like, Wiley's this, Wiley's that,
he used it to provide context and
this is grime.
Support the scene. Yeah.
And I reckon, to be honest,
Wiley probably watched that and thought, big man thing.
Yeah, Wiley fucking loved that. Yeah. I guarantee when he said that, he probably pulled out his phone.
He was probably gassed, didn't he?
Yeah, fucking jumping up and everything. He probably thought, yeah, man. He loved it. He would have loved it, mate. And like,
but you could see that when Dot was sharing like some of the texts that Wiley was sending him, And you could tell that even though Wiley
what was they saying? I haven't seen.
Well, I think this was after when Dot just started releasing the tune like every fucking 4 hours, and Wiley just texted him
Dot,
like,
slow down, bro.
Yeah, just text him and was like, bruv, like you know in it, like I know you know sort of.
Oh,
sort
that
of
was
thing.
when he said he's the king of grime.
Yeah. And
I
it was
saw
like,
that,
and you could tell like he was probably like, yeah, fuck it, I'll listen to his reply. Probably, and he was listening to it and probably just thought, mate, I've missed this. Like he probably just laid back in his chair and was just like, this is all I wanted, was Grime to come back like this.
It's like Darth Sidious.
Yeah, like he's not the hater. He's not like an old decrepit old man like people sort of paint Joe Budden as and shit like that in America.
Well, they paint him as.
Yeah.
It's so sad, man.
Yeah, and it's like, no, like what he wants is
his baby back.
Yeah.
He wants his baby back ribs.
Yeah, he doesn't want people to not make money. He's made Stormzy a little bit more money. Because, you know what I mean? I might buy his album now, because I'm think, there might be a couple Grime tracks on there. Do you know what I mean?
Well, we're talking about, to be honest, where's
100%.
there been a conversation with Stormzy? Barely.
Bro,
barely.
Historically,
barely.
I've
barely.
barely.
I'm legally blind.
But like back at he was treated as sort of like
yeah. Hold it down.
Hold it down. That's at the courthouse. Oh man,
Squad, baby.
I can't get that. Holding it down. It's just the fact that his voice is breaking the whole way
it's
through.
she's a woman.
Yeah, I'm a female.
I forget all the
Sir,
time.
I'm a female. They saying I drove the getaway car.
Well, okay. It's just
I'm legally blind.
Just imagining them in the back of the car as well blind and that, not realising they're on a robbery. Like.
Right, big up POP for Lord of the Mics 2020.
Yes. Bobby Schmurder 2020. Come to
Is
the
it
UK.
this year? No, it's...
Was it 2020 or 2022?
I thought it was 21.
Oh no, it is.
We're probably all wrong.
It is 21. That rings a lot
Can we
more
get a
bells.
fact check?
Can we get a fact check in the chat?
What are we checking?
Fact check. When's Bobby Schmurder?
Released.
I said to you before, innit, bro. If we've got the money, we're
Jamie,
going New
pull that
York. We're going New York for that release night, and we ain't coming back. I ain't come. Yeah, no way. I'm not coming back until I'm in GS9.
In the 2020
Yeah,
exhibition?
What?
Bobby,
Jeez. See, this
Wait,
is what I mean.
when's-
Grime could be back. Bobby Schmurder.
Do you know what?
could
This
be back.
year's gonna be mad for America.
Oh, bro,
Like, you
I
think
say
of
this
all
all
the-
the
Is there
time.
an
Let's-
election this year?
There's
Yeah,
I think there's
2020
that's
election,
happening
bro.
this year.
Everything that you
Wait.
could possibly imagine is on a cliff edge, no matter what it is. If it's an industry, a belief, a religion, a way of thinking, a culture, they're all hanging over the edge. And like we are in such an important time of human history, bro. We could either be witnessing the start of an entirely new thing, or we could be witnessing the end
Of everything.
of everything.
Yeah.
Art's dying, Disney, Grime getting a bit of a revival, but still, do you know what I mean? The arts that we all grew
Religion's
up with.
dying. Religion's
Movies are
declining.
dying. Movies are dying. Art's dying. Music's
even-
getting shit. Everything that makes us creatively, like, properly human and that is getting replaced with financialization, isn't it? And that's gonna fuck the
anything-
world up
everything's
because
just
all the
getting monetized.
economies are failing as well. So, like, if where's the release point? Where's the bus stop in it where we all get off? Because at the moment it seems like we're all just sort of spiraling out of control and getting distracted by petty shit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you know what? Going back to that whole Grime beef and stuff, like when you were saying about face to face and like that
Yeah.
needing to happen again.
Yeah.
Being in that room with that
Bro,
energy.
imagine it.
With that
Imagine
energy.
What?
it.
It makes me think that like this whole the way that YouTube, a lot of people forget YouTube, like it seems to be its own thing, but it is social media still. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when you're making diss tracks and sending it to each other over social media, is that not the same as someone calling out someone on Twitter?
Yeah.
Like at what point does it come
it's
that
just
they
a-
actually
Yeah, that's
have
true.
a
Actually,
debate? Do you know what I mean?
it isn't that personal
Yeah,
because
do you know what I
you're
mean?
doing it. You could be the other side of the fucking world. Do
And
know
you
what I
got
mean?
you got
It's
time
not-
to think about the
It's
bars
not
as
that
well
like,
instead
oh,
of,
he
like-
could actually just punch you in the face if he wanted to, innit? And that's where it. Because if someone says something personal to your face, it's like bro, I'm not being funny yet, but saying suck your mum over a track and that, like that's kind of been alright for a while. Saying suck your mum to your face, ain't
Yeah,
it?
no, it's different.
Imagine Stormzy said suck your mum to Wiley or vice versa, innit? Like, and everyone in the room would just be like, and everyone watching would just be like, like just waiting to see if he reacts, or if he reacts with a bar, or whether he just slaps. You know what I mean? That's already so much more.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You remember going back to that rooftop clash?
Yeah.
Getz and Bashi, and you remember Getz just
and you can
losing
see
his
him
shit.
getting pissed off with each other in it, and
It
they're
just
getting
goes-
more and more personal.
It just goes mad at him. What was it about banging in cells?
Oh yeah, well,
Do you
that's it.
remember-
That's
yeah,
it.
do you remember-
Oh, not Pedro. Is it not Pedro?
It's the other guy, innit?
Ask him what I was like in jail.
Yeah, I was a Batman in jail.
It's not Pedro, but it's a Spanish name like that,
Yeah,
isn't it? Like Juan or something. He's like, ask him what I was like. I was like a bad man in jail. And that, like, see, that's what I mean. Like, you don't get that over a track. That happens privately, away from. I'm not saying I'd like to see Getz have
Or
one,
only on
like,
drill.
Yeah.
And now
That's
that
true.
culture, because Grime's dying, so you look
But
at
drill ain't a sport.
You look at Stormzy.
Drill ain't a
you look at
sport, that's the
Stormzy.
difference.
You look at Stormzy being able to go on the radio after sending 2 tracks at Wiley, having 3 back at him, and able to say, "I look up to him."
Yeah.
And then you flip that over to drill. Boy, if you say if you're in a video where someone says something about you, might die.
Yeah.
You might die, and that's where Grime needs its comeback of being able to stand next to him and say this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And you're gonna,
But
you're either
do-
gonna come
do
back
you
with a
not think
slap or just energy.
drill and that, like, in not so much the music itself, but like in general, what people are like nowadays as well, the youngsters and that, it's a lot more of a bully culture. So like you say, if you're in the video and they catch you on your ones, they know that you're not involved, but it's a cheap way of getting a score.
But you know what's, you know,
But like back, do you know what I mean? Back in the day, that wouldn't happen because like you just wouldn't do that anyway. Like it was
You
a
know
lot
what's
more
mad
like if
about
you've got a
that?
problem with someone, bro, if you ain't sorting it out yourself, I'll back you if you back yourself, innit? There's none of this like, let's go fucking stab his little young cousin up and shit. Like,
you know
it
what's
just
mad
ain't
about
like
that?
that. But it is now, and
No,
that's the
I'd
difference.
say there was that back in the day, but it was a lot less. It was a lot less of. I think the only
Bro,
the only way that would
kids weren't getting fucking chefed up over music tunes.
no, but
Oh
you
yeah,
know what?
no. I agree with that. I'm talking about just street beef in general.
Oh yeah, of
There's
course.
but
Do you know what I
like-
mean? It
like,
spilled
if
over a lot with Grime,
yeah,
innit? But
yeah.
it was like they'd go and sort it out. They'd jump each other and that. Like you say, they wouldn't be trying to. It's just nowadays. It's just a lot more bullying.
Yeah, but
it's
you know what
less
else
like
is-
I'm backing myself because I'm hard. It's my boys will do this to
Do you know what else
one of your
is
little
like-
cousins that ain't even
Do
involved.
you know what
sort of
else
thing.
is like
That's,
perpetuated?
I
a
mean,
lot?
it's different. It's different.
Do you know what I feel like it's perpetuated a lot, and it's like even outside of the music thing, like nowadays you've got to remember, like a couple of my friends are teachers, and they were saying about confiscating phones because of Snapchat and stuff in school. You remember back in school when you'd do the like, someone would like bend over behind someone, you push them, tables and chairs or whatever it is, yeah. And you might get
Happy
a video of
slapping.
it, happy slapping, all that sort of
Bro,
stuff.
I
Yeah.
do miss happy slapping. I know that's basically probably what started all of this fucking shit.
But-
But bro, happy slapping.
But you
was
remember
something.
all of that sort of stuff happened, Jen. You might get Bluetooth to funny video, but it's in shit quality. You can't really see who's getting slapped
Yeah.
and that.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you've
Their
got
whole
like,
lives are on there,
a
so
phone
their whole
with,
lives
like,
will be on there.
a phone with like 7 cameras, picturing like picture perfect. You can see like
and you can just
that.
pull it out, swipe, and you're recording.
yeah, done, and then that gets put out there for how many people to see.
Yeah.
You know what? Back in the day, if you got jumped, you could dust yourself off and like sort of look around and be like, okay, no one
Bro.
saw that. I don't have to respond.
I see someone tweeted
Do you know
and was
what I mean?
like, bro, imagine all of the embarrassing shit that happened to
yeah,
you when
yeah,
you was
yeah.
younger,
Yeah.
getting pissed for the first time and
No,
that.
but do you
and
know
just
what?
imagine that it was all on Insta.
If you
Like,
got,
and
if
it
you
was
got-
on fucking I'm Just Bait.
Yeah.
No, but that's the thing, though.
Yeah.
Fucking
Fucking 2 million
Facebook,
people
lad
are-
Bibles. Like,
Imagine!
bro,
No,
I
but-
feel sorry for some people, and I look at that and I just think, fucking hell, because I mean, people are more sensitive to that anyway now.
Yeah.
But there are a
That
couple-
fear of being internet famous for the bad reasons.
But
and
you
shit.
look at
man.
that, yeah, and the thing is, though, going back to that whole thing about kids, like, there's kids that will get like getting stabbed, but having that's getting filmed and put around on Snapchat and these social media platforms.
Yeah,
Them
think-
kids, they're put into a situation where that's embarrassing for them, and they have to respond. Like I was saying, back in the day, if you got, I don't know, like you got jumped.
You
Yeah,
didn't
but
have
it
to tell everyone, innit?
Yeah,
you could tell another
you
side
could
of the
sort of
story.
be
Oh,
like-
bro, it weren't like that. Bro, I banged him out.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
that. And so it just gets quashed. Almost.
Exactly. It comes
Obviously,
back to that
carries
whole
on,
thing
innit?
of,
But like, yeah,
Whereas nowadays,
more
if you
private.
get jumped,
It's mad for these
if you
kids.
get jumped now,
it's all
there's gonna
documented.
be there's gonna be all these comments
Yeah.
on your Insta being like blah blah blah.
Yeah.
There's gonna be someone's
There'll be
story
narratives,
tagging you
yeah,
and all this
yeah.
shit.
It's mad.
And it's just
Chinese whispers on steroids.
it's not just connected to you in just your daily movements. It's connected to you in your fucking pocket.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
connected
yeah.
to your fucking pocket.
That's
and
it.
people can say, "Oh, just turn your phone off." But
No, you can't. When your phone's just going ding, 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 what are you going to do about it? What, these boys are taking the piss out of you and that. Like, bruv, imagine if we had that back in the day. Everyone would have reacted to everything that happened to them because it all would have been personal. Rather than, like, do you know what I mean? Like when I was young, I think in year 7, I got jumped by like a group of like they were quite old, but I can't. Do you know what I mean? When you're young, you think they were probably only like 16, innit? But to me, I was like fucking old men. Yeah, look at them now, like fucking walking sticks. Yeah, but yeah, and like I think now, like if that happened now and they filmed that, that would have caused a beef. That wouldn't have just been like I got. Do you know what I mean? Got in a bit of trouble on the bus and a couple of boys beat me up and that, and then got off the bus and met a couple of their boys. They beat me up and that.
That puts you
it would have been like it would have put me in a position where like I'll have to find out who they are, or you will find out who they are because that'll be another notification. These
there's a fucking code you can type in. Fucking M20 gang. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and shit like that. And so if you didn't retaliate, you'd have to then come away from public life almost. Well, public life within
you have
like
to shut yourself. Well, you have to shut yourself off from the whole social.
Yeah. And that's their lives, bro.
And then, because everyone else is in that culture, you then become a recluse.
Yeah.
Even though the argument is, everyone should get off their phones.
Insta.
Everyone should get off their phones. Everyone should go outside. Yes, I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
But if all your pals, like all my pals, are on MSN.
Yeah.
I still went out and played football. Do you know what I'm saying? But I'm not. But if I was to not be on MSN, that would have like excluded me from the conversations Live and shit
when we was younger, and I used to feel well left out. Just because I didn't get to play online, even though I didn't play COD or nothing. So I probably wouldn't have played online with anyone anyway. I'd just played FIFA or NBA or something. But like, and that was just a tiny part of our lives. Imagine replace that with what people see Snapchat and Instagram.
Do you reckon maybe
that's their lives?
Do you reckon maybe these platforms
they got more responsibility, man?
Do you reckon they should? Do you reckon maybe they should cut it off for children?
Yeah.
And just like
why do kids need it?
Because these kids now, like
they couldn't give us one good reason why they need it.
A boy might be 12 years old. He's just had his fucking first boner. He gets a girl, one of these fake accounts, messaging him saying, "Send me this, send me that." Some kid's gonna send something, and then
his mum's card details and shit.
His mum's card, or just fucking, do you know what I mean, child porn and shit. And like, do you know what I mean? That's just enabling these people. Yeah. Like, if we were to completely get kids, like, stop giving kids the responsibility to not expose themselves on the internet, because the internet, it's a fucking amazing place, but it's so dangerous. Yeah. It's so fucking
think
dangerous.
Of these girls, like, not all girls, but think of like some of the girls and that are like 14, 15, and they're putting it all online and that. When they're a bit older and that, bro, they're gonna feel fucking ashamed. They're gonna be like, everyone saw me.
Yeah.
Like,
and
like
then
that.
How many times you like in the fucking comments and that, you'll see 20, 30-year-old man.
Yeah.
And they're all liking it and quite
got a beard.
Yeah, you got a beard. She ain't even got a GCSE yet, bro.
Yeah. There's pictures of you taking other girls on holiday, bro, and she's at fucking school and that.
Like.
But and this is it. This is it's opening them up. And this is why, do you know what I mean? And like when you hear about like the sort of the murders getting younger and younger and that, but not so much the perpetrators, more like the people that are actually dying are getting younger, is like that where that 14-year-old didn't quite understand how serious the beef was. And when do you know what? I live from that area. Yeah, fuck them boys and that. And do you know what I mean? All of a sudden,
because you've watched 100 videos of people getting jumped. You've watched videos of people getting jumped.
You're so desensitized to it, but you've never had it before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when someone fucking rocks your head,
it rocks your world.
It's like they can't comprehend it.
Yeah.
Like you can't comprehend it.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? It's mad. It's mad. I think we're reaching a bit long now. I think the memories are running out and all that. So
I'm getting quite monotone.
No, let's wrap it up there. Thank you everyone for
blessed boys. For being a part of this magical movement.
It's just episode 1, everyone. We've got a lot to come, man.
You give us some fucking. You want us to talk about something specific and that. Just tell us, innit? And we'll dedicate a bit more research, a bit more focus and that. We've got, do you know what I mean, boys around us that are into certain subjects. We'll touch them and shit, but we're just... I just noticed what I said. We just got some young boys. We're just going to touch them and shit. We'll see you next week.
Oh, you know that's going to get clipped out. You know that's going to get clipped out somewhere. Someone's going to do them... So, you can piss your pants.
Let me fucking piss my pants. Fucking lefty conspiracies.
Yeah, Jay, come on, wrap it up, bro. It's your show.
Yeah.
It's your show.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everybody.
Alright, big up Sam. Get in.
Yeah, big up Sam.
Yeah, say
give us a cloud.
Say goodbye.
Give us a cloud.
Fuck's sake. Fuck,
Yeah,
you know.
give us a cloud. Come on.
Give us a cloud.
Hey. That's fucking sick, bro.
He can do better.
Alright, come on.
Come on.
We'll do a vape.
Oh, come
No,
on.
come on.
We'll do a
come
whole
on.
episode about vaping and how to.
Yeah, bro.
Oh wait.
Oh, wait.
He's got it.
Oh, it's
Don't
coming.
think we forgot about the billionaires as well and the pedos.
Oh, yeah, we're
bro.
coming for them.
Billionaires,
Bro.
Epstein,
Yeah.
Clinton.
Oh, here we go.
We just did the current affairs thing today.
Whoa, vape Nash. Vape fucking Nash. Oh, we need that.
I actually need to go for a
check-
wee in it, so
yeah.
bless everyone for
Go
listening.
check out all the links. Go check out all the links below.
Yeah, we'll put as many as we can in.
Yeah,
the
we'll
bio.
put everything. We'll label everything so you know what. Like, hit us up on Twitter. Hit us up on Instagram. Hit us up in the emails.
Yes.
Hit us up in the comments. Everything.
Yes.
We want to hear. We want to
Hit
hear
us up in the
everything you have to
streets.
say.
If I don't,
Hit them up.
Hit them up.
if I don't get a chance, if I don't get a chance to go on YouTube again, big up Linus Tech Tips.
Linus Tech Tips. Who's that?
Shout out that guy.
I need to know
Oh,
if
mate,
he's worth backing. No,
Yeah,
joking. Yeah,
no.
big yourself up, man.
Linus Tech Tips is a Nazi.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You fascist.
Fucking fascist.
Leave it out.
Oh
mate.
shit! Alright.
You're
I'm
starting
in the middle of
beef.
saying. I'm in the middle of
Starting
saying.
beef.
So let's wrap this up.
It was all this guy.
Sign it out. Sign it out, Jake.
Like,
Yeah,
comment,
sweet.
subscribe.
Thank you very much for listening. We'll see you soon.
Peace.
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 Peace
Peace.
up. A-Town down.
A-Town.
You have to run up to the camera and put your hand over the lens.
You didn't cover the lens, but we'll call it there. Alright, safe.
Alright,
though,
safe.
safe.
Oh yeah.